a halo. Pray you won't fade away.
Okay. Say you. I said it. We have just discovered four amazing people who can say, man, girl, where did you get that voice from? Okay, this is why I must stop singing. I forgive anybody that has ever complained about me singing on radio. I will never do it again. Lie, it will happen today when I get to work. Once again, is it afternoon, morning? Where are we now?
Morning.
Thank you, Femi. God bless you. Good morning again.
Good morning.
We're your host for today. I'm Charles.
Femi.
His name is Femi Ojo. Let's know you now. Why you just say your name is Femi?
Ojo.
Femi Ojo.
Cool.
And you are welcome to Make Music Lagos. Let's just introduce you to them. Okay. Everything there is to know about music, the music, the conversations around music, the talent behind the music, the creatives, the technical know-how. And every year they put together an amazing show. I'm not just saying this because I'm a part of them. Femi, I think you know that.
Yes, it's always good. It's always great. Awesome. This is the 6th edition, and we are going stronger and stronger.
And I promise you, next year is going to be bigger and better. For so many reasons. I think Make Music Lagos has been here long enough for people to, when they hear the name Make Music Lagos, to just get up and want to be a part of it. So we will possibly come calling again next year. No shame. We're not afraid to come. We'll call as many times as we need to. But seriously, I'm proud to be part of this project. I think that, not just because most of you that know me know that I'm a music head. They call me the music encyclopedia. But it is also because of the message that music has been able to put out there to us. If you look at the times that we're living in right now, I don't know about you, but this whole COVID thing, my music kept me alive. How many people? Put up your hands if music saved you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Music was all we had. We are on radio, so we have not taken any holiday. There was no break. Essential services. We have been working since the beginning of lockdown to end of lockdown to even now. So, you know, music kept us alive. And while you were at home, we were at work, you know, staying alive for you.
Fantastic. So we're going to begin the event this morning. We start off with a rendition of the national anthem by Idono.
Put your hands together.
For Idono. All
there
right.
You go.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's a beautiful girl I saw. Okay, I'll give you my mic.
Good morning, everyone. We all rise for the national anthem. we all sing that together, please? One nation bound in freedom, peace and pray that as we speak these words, our nation will find its feet again. Thank you.
And I guess it's an unveiling of music artists, and this is the 5th person, and we expect to unveil more people as we go on with the event today. This is the Make Music Lagos Music Business Conference 2021, and I'm excited to be here today. I also want to acknowledge people who are joining us online on our YouTube channel at Make Music Lagos. A round of applause for people who are joining us online. All right, thank you. I'd like to encourage everyone, if you know someone in the industry that can really benefit from this, please share the link. It's at Make Music Lagos on YouTube. So to the next item on our agenda this morning, we'll be having Susan Adinoy to tell us a little bit more about the Music Business Conference. This is the 3rd edition. We've been having exciting conversations over the couple of years, and this one is not going to be any different. It promises to be a lot better. It's just a little over 1 year since COVID hit. There's a lot that's changing in the industry. There's a lot that's changed in the last 1 year, and many changes are still unveiling. So let's welcome Susan to tell us a little bit more about the Music Business Conference. A round of applause for Susan as she comes up.
Hello, everyone. So I'm here to talk about Make Music Lagos Music Business Conference. So as we all know, Make Music Lagos is the celebration of World Music Day. And the Music Business Conference really is the gathering of thought leaders and those interested in the music industry and the music business to just come and learn about the business side of music, because music is beyond just the creative aspect. Also, there's a business behind it. And really, that's the reason why we're gathered here. Today, the theme for this event today is the structure of the future, and we're going to be talking about the structure and future of the music industry. We're going to be talking about women inclusion in the music business. We're also going to be talking about my mental health as a creative. We're talking about licensing and distribution. So there are lots and lots of things that you can learn today at the Music Business Conference. So don't just come to listen. Also make sure you're able to take something with you that can help you improve and help you grow your craft in the music industry. So thank you very much for joining us, and enjoy. Thank you.
All right, a round of applause for Susan, and thank you for
Come on, you can do better than that. Put your hands together for her. Thank you, thank you. We want to acknowledge our audience, the ones who are watching online right now. We say hi. I don't even know what direction to put my hi in, but hi. And nice of you to join us. It's going to be an amazing, amazing day. I'm looking forward to the conversations that will happen around music. I think at this point we should introduce the keynote speaker, who is going to be talking about my mental health. As a creative, God knows I need this discussion, because my mental health is very important to me and has been since the beginning of this Mr. COVID and the rest of it. And to do that, we have
Dr. Yemi Adeyemi. Before we bring her up, we just want to say a little bit about her. Dr. Adeyemi is a medical doctor. She's currently doing a residency in community medicine and primary health care. She had a medical training in Sumy State University, Ukraine, and master's in public health from the University of South Wales, UK. She's a social entrepreneur who uses her foundation, the Yemi Adeyemi Foundation, to address various health issues. She invented the flow game in an effort to address menstruation stigma, and has written 2 books on sexual and reproductive health. The foundation runs the Brave Boys and Girls Club, which travels around southwestern part of Nigeria to provide sex education to children and teenagers in an effort to fight against public health issues like teenage pregnancy, STIs, HIV, and sexual assault.
She partnered with the Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad to raise awareness on mental health via workshops. She's also a stakeholder for 19 Voices on organizations that uses poetry as a form of expression and an avenue to talk about mental health. Health columnist for Platform Times newspaper and has her show Medic Lounge on High Impact TV. In addition to this, She leverages social media to educate people on sexual and reproductive health and rights using videos and pictorial illustrations under the hashtag Girl Chat
with Dr. Yems.
There you go. Let's say that again. Girl Chat with Dr. Yems.
All right. A round of applause as we welcome Dr. Yemi Adeyemi to give a keynote speech.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. So, like I said, I'm Yemi Adeyemi, but I like calling myself Dr. Yems, so that's why the Girl Chat with Dr. Yems. All right, so I've been given the topic to talk today, which is mental health as a creative. And I love the topic because I also see myself as a creative. And there are different things to look at when we talk about mental health. I love the fact that nowadays there isn't that much stigma as it was before. A lot of times when we talk about mental health, people think about the madman on the street or something happening to someone, forgetting that it's a spectrum and there are a lot of, disease conditions and a lot of issues that are attached to the word mental health. When WHO is talking about mental health, they say a state of well-being where an individual understands their ability, can cope with normal stresses of life, and is able to contribute to their community. And I love the way they define it because they also say it's not the absence of mental health diseases. However, it's the ability to cope with this disease and still be able to live a normal life. But I love the fact that it starts with understanding your abilities, and that is, you have to know who you are and what you have in store and what you can give to other people. I love that one. And I love the fact that it says ability to cope with normal stresses of life. Because, for example, COVID-19 is not a normal stress of life. So it would be funny if I said to someone who, with everything that happened, is going through depression in that moment, because it's not a normal stress of life. Something happened that shook the person away from what is normal. Do you understand? So I love the definition says that ability to cope with normal stresses of life. And then it says that you are able to contribute to your community, because if you don't know who you are, you cannot give to yourself and to your community around you. So as a creative, there's that initial phase of definition. You're trying to know who you are, what you have, what can I give my world. And in that moment, there's so much. It's like, you're in a pressure cooker, you're trying to figure out, and there's that pressure to figure out who you are from your environment, for example. If you're someone who, around you, you're seeing so much and you're like, I know I can be better. I know I can come out of this space and be something else. That pressure is going to be there. Or if you're someone who, for example, you want to do something and maybe your family is against it. They want you to be a doctor, for example, and you want to be maybe an artist. And in that moment, there's that pressure from family to define your path. And in that moment, you're saying, no, I think I want to do this. That's another form of pressure. So when you're defining who you are, there's that pressure of, am I defining the right person? So you've said, okay, I want to be an artist. Where do I want to go? What genre do I want to, put myself in? What box do I want to put myself in? And then you start doing that and you realize that people are not, appreciating what you're doing. I love, if you listen to Dave, Psychodrama, it's an album by Dave. And there's a part where he's talking to his psychiatrist and they asked him, talk about your life, tell me about your childhood. And he said something, said, what's the point of being the best if no one notices me? And that's the thing, we're all best in our own thing. But we're looking for that validation of someone else seeing that I'm the best at rap. And that's why you always see that when someone drops a few albums, they'll come and say, I'm the best at this. Because they believe they're the best, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you're also looking for that validation of someone else seeing me as the best at what I do. So there's also that pressure of trying to figure that out. And maybe all of a sudden you decided that I want to be an artist. And then you drop something on social media, for example, and then everybody loves it. And it has to do with comedy. And then you're like, how do I now figure out, am I supposed to do music or I'm supposed to go into comedy? Because you've seen that reception towards your comedic side. And that's another thing, because there are a lot of people that have different sides. And having to figure out which one do I stay in? Do I grow in? Do I get better? That's another form of pressure. And then you have that, okay, I've defined myself. I've decided that this is what I want to do. How do I make sure that I have the right people around me? People that would build up that side of me, people that will make me, get better at what I'm doing, people that will not pull me down out of spite and envy, you understand? So all of that also comes into that pressure. Have you ever had social media pressure before? Have you ever had social media anxiety before? Has anybody had it? If you've had it, raise up your hand, please. I've had it, where you post something on social media and maybe you're like, yes, this is it. I know that once I put this on social media, everybody the retweet is going to be mad. And then you just put it and just one like. And then you say, okay, let me wait. Maybe they have not woken up yet. Maybe my timing was wrong. And then you wait 1 hour, 2 extra likes. And you're like, okay, wait, what's going on here? I put the best, foot forward and I did everything. But how come no one is appreciating it? I was talking to someone and I said, if you look at people that have 1 million followers, 2 million, 3 million followers, go check their likes. Sometimes it's just 10,000. Sometimes it's even less. Or if you go back and then check the number of views they have on a video, you see that it's not even up to half of the people that, following them. So you then ask the question that me that now have 10K subscribers and I'm just having 200 likes. Is there a problem there? I'm just trying to say that sometimes people follow, they don't interact, but they see what you're doing. And then you find out that somebody who used to be 1K follower and all of a sudden everyone is following and hyping this person. There's something about the process. And in the process, you lose yourself or you get yourself. And a lot of times, what makes you get to a point of losing yourself is sometimes we have the imposter syndrome, where we're like, am I even up to what I say I am? Am I that good? And in that moment, you're talking to yourself. And that is a very crucial moment as a creative. Because if you know who you are at 10K followers, you most likely know who you are at 1 million. Because you have a strong definition of your ability. And that's why I said I love the definition. It starts with knowing your what? Your ability. So knowing who you are, what you've been called to do, or what you've come to this space to contribute. And then from there, you can easily then navigate the normal stresses of life. Because we all go through stress. My stress will be different from your stress. The challenges I'm going to face will be different from the challenges you're going to face. You understand what I mean? I love taking 2 different people and then looking at them. Stormzy, and I also look at J.O.S., or sometimes I do use that to look at Papa Sule. Sorry, they're UK artists. But what I want to say is, both of them came from, quote unquote, the slums. However, their slums were quite different. And then, with time, they grew a following and then they became popular and everyone got to know them. But someone had to go through that phase of selling drugs, before getting the funds to go into the studio, and then when they got into the studio, released the first few tracks, and then one out of them, which is Stormzy, when he released the one that had to do with gang signs and prayer, he blew up. However, if you follow J.O.S. is a whole different story because his took longer. But now, when you talk about J.O.S., you see him up there. Now, I take these 2 people because they somewhat had the same background, but their journey still was different. Do you understand what I mean? So sometimes you might come from the same place with someone and you put in the same effort, you went to the same studio maybe, you put in the same amount, you met the same producer and all of that, and then all of a sudden what happens? One person, you know, the speed at which they became popular, and you, who also did the same thing, followed the same rules and regulations, quote unquote, you didn't get the same results. Does that mean that there's something wrong with me? Or maybe I'm not called for this? And that's why when I talk to quite a lot of people, I tell them that, yes, there are rules to success, but it's not tailored to you. Your journey is still different. So sometimes you might follow all the rules that has been laid down by an individual that was successful, and still you don't see that same result. Does that take away from who you are? No. It just means that maybe your journey is different, and maybe you need to be a little bit patient. Do you understand what I mean? So back to our definition. So it says, another part of the definition talks about being productive. Productivity is different for everyone. And what makes a productive day for me is dependent on my definition of who I am, is dependent on my ability, and is also dependent on how I cope with the normal stresses of life. I'm trying to tailor this discussion with the definition. So, it says being able to be productive. Now, you'd have a surgeon going to the same theater, do the same procedure, but have a different result. Now, the difference in result could be because of the patient, could be because of the theater environment of that day. Could even be something as simple as the attendant that folded the cloth differently for that day. Are we together? So little things can change what productivity would mean. So it could just be something as simple as you missed one meeting and then the productivity of that day changes. But it doesn't take away from the beauty and the result of that day. Are we together? So let's say you posted on social media and they tell you that post every, all them algorithms, geniuses, they'll tell you post this at time of the day, and then you're expected to get a good result. But if you go back and look at your own algorithm as a person and you study it, you see that it's different from what you were told. And sometimes what goes viral, for example, is dependent on what is happening. It's dependent on the extra one person that retweeted and has followers that are interested in that topic. It's dependent on so many things. But because you felt like you expected, okay, my normal is 20 retweets, for example, and then you expected that, and then all of a sudden you saw one, does not mean that the other people that read that same tweet didn't take away something from it. Are we together? So what I'm trying to show you is that sometimes we beat ourselves up for nothing. And then when they talk about social media anxiety, which is something that we're facing now, and as a creative it's even worse because you're trying to put stuff on. Even to the extent that some people refuse to take breaks because they are scared that the one day that they miss might be that day that they will blow. And you're like, but you're going through stuff, just relax. I love the fact that Naomi, tennis player, came out and said, you know what, I need a break. I know I'm good. Because I'm sure if they put her there, she would forget about everything that is going on in that moment and stay in the court and then make sure that she wins, and then she'll go back and cry. She can go back and do whatever she's doing, which a lot of us do. We'll come out, we'll show ourselves looking beautiful and everything, but deep down inside, we're going through a lot. But in that moment, we want people to see the best of us. But she said, you know what? No, I need to take a break. I need to figure out my mental health. And it's okay to take breaks. Sometimes I tell people, take social media breaks. It's okay to just close everything and figure out who you are and take some time to enjoy who you are as a person. So that when your next post comes, it comes from a genuine place of joy, happiness. I want to show the world something rather than, trying to deal with a lot and not want to talk about it. So back to my definition, productivity. After that, then it says making good contribution to your community. Now, I love one message by Pastor Sam Adeyemi where he talks about the fact that if you want to be a success or you want to be rich, give a service. Don't just be selfish with yourself. How can you serve with what you have? And a lot of times, you know, we ask ourselves the question, is it just about posting? Is it just about putting everything? Sometimes it might be going to a school and talking about what you're doing. Sometimes it might be because you never know who will be so interested in you. You don't know the connections you'll make from giving a service. When I started sexual and reproductive health, like focusing on it, that was 2017. And I remember the first year, it was okay. But then the second year, I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this alone. I'm going to do a lot of collabs. I'm going to reach out to more people, go to schools and all of that. And then I was in the consulting room and I was just talking to one of the patients. And we just, from one conversation, went to another conversation. And I found out that he was quite influential in the area. When I say influential, it's not like a big guy, but I mean like in his own community, he knew quite a lot of people and important people in that community. Do you understand what I mean? So I was like, you know, I want to do this. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll connect you. And then he connected me and then I continued. Now, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes we forget that the next person is very important and instrumental. I might come to a place like this and meet someone and say, oh, I work at so and so firm. I might not need that service at the moment, but I've connected with that person. And then maybe along the line, as I go further in my journey as a creative, I find out that, oh, I need somebody in the banking industry, for example. And then I remember, oh, I came to Make Music Lagos and I met someone in this industry. So it's very easy to be, hey, hi, do you remember me? Oh, I came to such a place, we had a wonderful conversation. Can you link me up with that? And that might just be all that we discuss for the rest of my life. But in that moment, she's instrumental in helping me reach the goal. Are we together? So never forget, never ever overlook the power of coming to places and meeting with people and networking. You know, sometimes you see people, I'm shy. But what is in you is bold. So sometimes you allow yourself being shy to miss out on some beautiful opportunities. So you should also do that, you know, get to meet people and get to know and ask yourself that question, what can I do extra in my community? How can I impact my community with what I have? How can I reach out to people with what's in me? How can I, you know, share this? And the last part of the definition says, it's not the absence of mental illness. There are a lot of people, a lot of powerful people that are dealing with mental health illness. And they're still able to be productive. They're still able to do what they need to do. So I love that definition because it says it's not the absence. Because if we look at the top 3 mental health diseases, the first one is anxiety disorder, the second is mood disorder, and the last one is schizophrenia. When you talk about anxiety, a lot of us go through it. And even the fun thing is that you might say, oh, you don't, and then one funny thing happens, and then you realize, man, I'm having an anxiety disorder. It doesn't make you less human. It doesn't mean that you have a problem. Do you understand what I mean? For some other people, it's mood disorders. They have that moment where they have that boost of emotions. They can do everything. They see the world as possible. And then that next moment, they're like, ugh, I don't care anymore. You understand? And then they come back to that face and stuff. So you have those kind of people. And then you have those who are dealing with, you know, really difficult ones like schizophrenia. So I always say, what's the first thing to do? The rule for any mental health problems is speaking. that's the first step to dealing with it, is the ability to speak about your emotions, speak about what you're going through. And it doesn't necessarily mean, oh, go to a therapist immediately and talk about. Sometimes it might just be speaking to someone who is understanding and can give you the right words. I say those words because you can talk to the wrong person and it can make it worse. Are we together? And you can talk to the right person and that person gives you the word that encourages you and helps you to see something different. So let's take a very simple situation. Maybe you posted your best work and you're not getting, the result you wanted. In that moment, rather than just feeling bad, you could, talk to someone who sees the potential in you and sees that, they can give you that constructive criticism, because that's another thing. A lot of us shy away from constructive criticism, and because we don't want people to tell us the truth, we miss out on improving ourselves. Do you understand? So sometimes it might be just talking to that person and that person say, guy, now, alpha now, it's not like that. You're still the best at what you do. You're still good. There's nothing wrong with you. And they give you that encouragement to, or they say, you know what, maybe next time the light was not so good. Maybe we need to buy, something to help with the lights. It could be something as simple as that. Or somebody who is your friend already saw the video and said, oh, there's something wrong with the lights. And your next thing, I think you would, benefit from this. There are people like that in our lives that see that potential and they're willing to, push us to be the best that we can be. So number one is talking. Now, if you notice that you're having, because the rule about depression is consistent low moods, that span over 6 weeks or more, then you say that, okay, this person is going through depression. And for someone who is going through depression, it's not just about talking, it's talking to a professional, because they would help you to process your emotions beyond what you think. And they will be able to help you see the facade and see what you need to see to help you become better. And then after talking, the next thing is ensuring that you stay consistent. So how do you stay consistent? If you know that this is your trigger, for example, you don't go near it. Are we together? So consistently avoiding triggers that would get you into that state of, mood disorders or anxiety or anything like that. So it might be getting a friend to deal with your social media account, as simple as that. When I post, you are in charge of viewing. How many people you're in charge of viewing that comment? You're in charge of removing the comments I'm not supposed to see. Because sometimes it might be just that one comment. You see someone that have 500 people that liked the video and commented nicely, and then one person, your nose is big, and you go to the mirror and you look at your nose for the next 24 hours, that this nose that you were seeing as normal automatically becomes big because somebody said it was big. Are we together? So consistently going away from what? Triggers, and getting people to be your gatekeepers when it comes to your emotion. So that's just a very short word that I wanted to give everyone. I hope we're able to learn something and take something away. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yemi Adeyemi. Dr. Yems, that's what you said you want to be known as. You can actually have to come back if you have any questions for her. It would be a good time. You have about 5 minutes. If you have any questions on everything that she's talked about, not sure. Anyone? Questions? We all good? Oh, there you go. Let me bring my mic.
Thank you. Thank you for the information. So, you said if the depression is continuous for like 6 weeks, what if it comes and goes within the 6 weeks?
Yes, so I don't mean the person is, well, there are two ways: constantly in that mood or going through bouts of low moods for consistent 6 weeks. So with that, because you still have mood disorders where you have that good mood and then bad and then good and then bad, manic and other forms of moods. So in that moment, you still need to see a professional because you're going in and out of that consistently.
Thank you very much. Any more questions before she goes away?
Hi. I think my question is, so what do you think should be done to increase mental health awareness in Nigeria? You know, there's, with the stigma attached to it, resources that people can, you know, making it okay for people to actually seek help, because you give the steps, but to step out, you know, the stigma of, you know, man up, you know, that kind of thing. Guys deal with a lot, but they won't say, right? So what kind of resources or what do you think can be done?
So the very first thing is policy. So if the government takes mental health as an important aspect of health that they want to put in resources, make available. So for example, you should have mental health centers or places where people can go into, you know, rehab centers, therapy sessions and all of that available in government hospitals, for example, at a, you know, good rates. So it's all about government doing the right thing as per policy. Then the second is awareness and advocacy. So like I said, it's getting better where people are actually knowing that it's okay to have, you know, mental health illness, and it doesn't mean that, you know, it's just one type of, you know, mental health disorder and all of that. So advocacy and awareness, which is happening. And then another thing is reduction of stigma, like you said. So it's me also talking to my friend about it and letting them know that there's nothing wrong with the next man that they see on the road, or somebody that is going through, you know, bouts of emotions and all of that, and, you know, talking to the next man next to you, so as to have that collective reduction in stigma. And then another would be ensuring that there are cost-friendly services available. So if, for example, somebody is going to have per session 10,000 naira, how many people can afford 10,000 naira for one session? And then you have people who go through the first session, the second session, and they cannot afford the rest. So it's like you've done a little bit of work and then you're, you know, going backwards. So having cost-friendly services, so something that a good number of citizens can afford, that will also be good.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yemi Adeyemi. Thank you. Bless you. Thank you. Let me take the mic. So, we're moving on very swiftly, but before we do that, we want to say thank you to some amazing people. Made Brighter by MTN, TuneCore, AMC, Trace, I said Trace already, Slice Media, Muson, and Creative Commons. Thank you very much for loving us enough to partner with us on this amazing project that we're doing. We're moving on next to the structure and future of the music industry by the first panel.
All right, so I'll introduce the first panel. The panel will be for 45 minutes, and we have some amazing people that we'll be bringing up. First on the list of panelists is Mr. Eddie Lawani. Eddie Lawani is one of Nigeria's most respected music promoters. He's the head consultant at Showbiz Network Services Limited and Paraganoe Multimedia Productions. With a round of applause, could you please welcome Mr. Eddie Lawani. All right, so we'll move on to our next panelist, who would be Adi Awofisayo. Adi Awofisayo is the head of YouTube Content Partnerships Sub-Saharan Africa, leading the team that builds the next generation of content creators in Africa. Our core of experience is based on business development and content partnerships. Adi has worked in various capacities in various multinationals like Microsoft, Discovery Inc., Clinton Foundation, to list a few. Could you please, with a warm hands, please welcome Adi Awofisayo to join the panel. And the last person I'll be calling up is Mr. Funsho Fini, a commercially astute telecoms professional with over 20 years experience covering financial management, business development, channel and sales operation, product and digital services management. His world of experience includes providing strategic direction on business planning, development, third-party negotiations and partnerships, execution of business propositions, and performance monitoring. Could you please, with the warm hands, please welcome Mr. Fini to the panel. Okay. And moderating the panel this afternoon would be Oyeyemi Aderibigbe. She's a senior advocate at the Nigerian law firm Templars. She's a seasoned business lawyer with several years of experience advising local and multinational businesses on corporate and commercial law across various sectors. A thought and workplace leader, Oyeyemi extends her impact in the legal services community through active volunteering across different professional platforms. She's currently the chairman of the Young Lawyers Committee of the Nigerian Bar Association section on business law, a member of the Council of the SBL, and the deputy head of Young Lawyers Committee of the NBA Women's Forum. She's a prolific writer and has published over 50 articles on technical and soft professional skills aimed at helping lawyers and young professionals achieve professional success and personal growth. Could you please welcome Oyeyemi Aderibigbe to the stage? She'll be our moderator for this afternoon. So the panel begins now. We have 45 minutes and it's going to be an interesting conversation. I believe everyone should all listen and really pay attention to all they have to say. There's a lot changing in the industry right now. In the last 1 year, it's been the fastest change we've had in recent times. So I believe they have a lot to give to us this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Femi. Good afternoon, everybody.
Just before you start, I want to say that if you want to use the conveniences, you have to go right outside that door or that door and then come around the back. And it would be nice if you just move forward, move up, so that we have a more balanced audience in the crowd. Obviously maintaining the social distancing as well. And if we could have all the panels, the panel in front here, it would be good, rather than sit on this side. If you all come forward. You can take these chairs here. Just can you help to facilitate that so that all the panel get in front? Thank you. And shout out to our audience online who are listening to us as well. You can take it away now, Dave.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to have you all here. And of course, a privilege to sit with these seasoned professionals and experts in the music business. Today we're talking about the structure of the future of we'll be focusing on the Nigerian business, music business industry. And I will just hurry to my questions. There are many, and I would like the experts to join the conversation as early as possible. So my first question is for you, sir, Mr. Eddie Lawani. People don't know you as well as some of us do, but you have seen the development of the music business industry over a period of, say, 30 plus years. A lot of people still say there is no structure, there is no architecture, it's very, very informal, it's somehow. What are your perspectives as to how we have grown, and what the structure of the industry is today?
Good afternoon, everybody. Well, it's a question that has been asked for so many years, and I'll try to answer it as simply as I can. It's like saying there is no security in Nigeria. Is that correct? Is that correct? Okay. If you walked up to your neighbor's house and randomly slapped your neighbor and the family around, do you think there will be consequences? Depends. You see, the questions I've asked, two questions, from a legal point of view, I'm sure the answer should have been in the affirmative. But I didn't get any single affirmation. Someone says depends. So at the end of the day, the answer to your question is that it all depends. It's a matter of perspective. Yes, there is security in Nigeria. You might say it's not effective, because the system is probably overwhelmed. Same thing, there is consequences, or there are consequences if you walked up to your neighbor's house and slapped them around. Somebody will react. It doesn't matter what the outcome, the final outcome would be. You either go to police station or go to court, or he gets thugs to beat you up, or he gets the family to beat you up. There will be a reaction. And even when there's no reaction, that's the reaction in itself. The jokes aside, there have always been structures in the Nigerian music business. For the very fact that I wake up, I make a record, forget about the processes, and there's a method by which I can get paid. But this method or this process might not be faultless. We are quick to compare our environment with what is obtainable abroad. And that is our greatest undoing. We can look forward or look up to systems that work and try to emulate and become like them. But we do have structures that are befitting of the space where we are in. Because when you talk about structures, you have to lean very heavily on law. Piracy is a problem. You need law and law enforcement to tackle that. But again, how does this relate to structures in the music business? Why would I sign an artist for $1 million when I know that the chance of getting that $1 million back from the very day I gave you the money is next to zero? So the reasons why we say there are no structures is because the investment landscape is not as robust as it should be compared to other climes around the world. Every society would have to work hard to develop its own structures. Structures from how do you even become an artist? It's a random thing. I wake up, I can sing, I feel I can sing, I make a record. We don't have to go through record companies anymore. There are people who are making music more than any structure in the world can handle if they were faced with the same kind of problems that we are faced with in Nigeria. Most people make music these days, they want to blow. When you blow, what is the flip side of the story? So structure is about having a purpose to want to be something or somebody, put out a product. There is a mechanism through which that product is introduced to the market, and there is a reliable and sure way of getting return on investment. If this happens over and over, that is definitely a structure. So the question is it happening? Ask Maven, ask Chocolate City, ask the YBNL, Davido and his crew and all of them. They will tell you to a large extent, yes, it's working for them. Is it working for everybody? The answer is no. So the question will be, why is it working for one and it's not working for the other? It's very easy for people to just run the industry down and say, there are no structures. You cannot build or give your architect or your builder money to build a bungalow, and you come and point to your neighbor's skyscraper, and you say, why don't I have a skyscraper? No be money I give you. Yes, you gave money. How much? I'll stop there.
Thank you so much, sir. And I like how you have started us off, because you've reminded us that it's business. So products, returns, investments, realizations, that's the sorry? Right. I mean, we do business, exactly. And so I would move on to you, Mr. Finney. The value chain keeps increasing, The value chain before was records, then promoters, and that was really it, and the market. But now you have telecoms companies, you have vast companies, you have all sorts of players, in the promotions business. And in many cases, when you're talking to people, they think the role of the telecommunications operator or company is just brand endorsements, So I'd like you to just speak to how it really works, what it is, the upstream, the downstream, the sides to it, and what stakeholders should really be mindful of when they're dealing in this value chain.
Okay,
I hope that's clear.
Yeah, it's clear.
All right.
Okay, I'll start with the strengths of telcos, and I mean telcos in general, right? The biggest strength that telcos have is their customer base, right? Which to a large extent speaks to the supply side of things. And you're right, to a large extent, the industry expects that the telecoms participates in the demand side of things. But there's so much that the telecoms can do in the demand side of things in terms of brand endorsements and partnerships and stuff, that in terms of creating content. We can pick one artist, 2 artists, 10 artists, 100 artists, but again, the whole industry is significantly huge and fragmented. And so there's so much the telcos can do when we talk about the demand, the supply side of things. But that demand side of things is where our strength lies, and the role of telecoms is to ensure that whatever is coming from the supply side is reaching the demand side in a very, very customer-centric and affordable way to our customers. And to a large extent, that has been happening over decades, both locally, talking of in Nigeria, as well as other markets across the world. So to a large extent, this is the telco's participation, the telco's strength, and an opportunity to extract value and pass it on to the supply side of things. On top of that, I also want to speak a bit about how telcos do this. One of the biggest problems that that exist in the supply side, I mean the demand side of things, is awareness and reach. What happens currently is that beyond what do you call it, physical performances, which has died. No, not died, but it has been impacted by the COVID. So a lot of transition is moving more and more into the digital space, even for live performances, not just the audio content that people consume largely. And for that transition to happen, naturally you need the telcos to ensure that that is happening seamlessly and affordably for the target audience. So this is a significant shift that we've been seeing post-COVID. A lot of activities have started moving online. You see a lot of shows, live performances online. You see a lot of verses between 2 artists and so on, just to see how they can continue to be relevant to the target audience. All this is happening through telcos in a very passive way because customers who are consuming this content don't realize that they're consuming this content through networks. But, you know, the other thing is, you know, affordability. I mean, there are so many people that can stream 100 gigabytes of videos because of the cost it would that they would have to cough out in order to consume that content. And this is where the telcos play a very significant role, ensuring that yes, this content is delivered seamlessly to the target audience and affordably to that target audience.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I want you to put your hands together for him. I heard people hesitating. So my next question will be to Adi. Adi is from YouTube and definitely one of the people who would have been having sleepless nights when COVID hit, right? Mr. Finney talked about the culture changing because of COVID. So Adi, would like to hear from you, and I would ask you 2 questions in a row. But the first one is, how did COVID, I mean, from the trends you saw, how did COVID affect the music consumption and how things worked, you know, last year and into this year? How did things pan out in terms of how people engaged, how people partnered, content, etc.?
Yeah, and I think he already alluded to it, right? And maybe not even alluded, mentioned it. So a lot of, and I'll talk about what we saw globally, and then I'll talk about what we saw in Nigeria. So globally, there was a boom, like literally boom, of artists and music consumption online. So we saw a lot of artists basically reverting to digital in order to reach their fans, right? So whether it was doing online concerts or doing live shows, either, and I wouldn't even talk just YouTube, like even on Instagram, on Facebook, there was a lot of digital activity happening in the music ecosystem. And then there was even a lot of these businesses. I mean, we saw the Versus with Sweet Beats and Timberland and all these things that was happening. So there was such a boom that I think it even became too much for us to handle. You know, from Angelo Bocelli, who did his Easter concert, and that had like over 100 million views on YouTube, to whether it was even locally, we had Asha do concerts online. But I think coming to Nigeria, what we saw was a hindrance was data, right? Like a lot of people didn't have the data to consume all the shows that were online. So you had someone like an Asha who has a huge fan base do an online concert to 100K views. Whereas an artist in America or in the UK would do an online concert to 1 million to 10 million views. So I think the music consumption did go up, but there was such a hindrance in Nigeria and even some parts of Africa where data is a challenge because people were just not streaming. People are not going to spend their precious data and watch a 2-hour concert. They're just not going to do that. So we saw that limitation. But on the artist side, it did help artists to still monetize their content. So the good thing with YouTube is whatever music video or online engagement video you have, it does get monetized. So artists were still able to make money by, and I, you know, in my role, I work with artists, I work with labels, I work with managers, and it was basically me encouraging them to say, see, you're just sitting at home. All you need is a camera to engage with your fans, whether it's doing an acoustic session or whether it's just even live chatting with your fans, and that video gets monetized. And that video gets monetized for life. So you can make money on that video. And so because of that awareness and that education, we started seeing a lot more people, from Asha to Scales to Davido, basically doing online concerts and online engagement with fans and being able to monetize it. But the consumption side of it, I think, was very limited by data. And I think until we, you know, whether it's telcos or ISPs or regulation, until data is no longer such a huge barrier, I think we are not going to see that huge potential of digital yet.
Okay.
In Nigeria.
I think you have given Mr. Finney a question to answer on data and what we can do to solve that. But before we come to him, I'd like you to speak to monetization. You already talked about that, but monetization before, in the old world as we knew it, was CDs or records, etc., you know. But now monetization it has taken a form that's even way beyond the artists, way beyond the music producers, way beyond the initial creating system. You know, so, and you, as YouTube, are a specialist in the monetization process. You know, so what are the opportunities there? What are the things that you would like to see in Nigeria? What are the conversations that have to start? Earlier on when we were talking, you mentioned paid digital goods. Do people know about that? So I'd like you to spend some time educating us on that.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, and even outside of just music, just content creation in general, I don't think a lot of people realize that they can actually monetize that video or that piece of comedy, 15-minute skit that they do online. I think some of the people that do it so well, I don't know how many people are familiar with Brother Shaggy. He does it so well. Like, Brother Shaggy would not play with his monetization online, right? He would do a 30 seconds clip on Instagram, because Instagram is not, and when I say monetization, in the sense that, so at YouTube, we have something that's called AdSense, right? So basically, that's advertising revenue. You can, once you upload your video, and you are connected to our YPP, so our YPP is YouTube Partner Program, which means, you know, you've signed an agreement online to say you're not stealing other people's content. The content that you want to monetize is your own original content. So it kind of goes to piracy, right? So we don't want people just uploading anyone's video and monetizing it. So you sign this agreement, this YPP agreement, that have certain rules. And then if you do violate those certain rules, your monetization eligibility gets taken away, right? So once you sign the YPP and you can monetize your videos, every single video you put online, so whether it's 1 minute, 2 hours, 60 minutes, gets monetized, whether you're an artist or a regular content creator. And I think what we saw with artists was they were just monetizing their music videos, but those music videos are usually, the monetization is usually going to the label or the publisher or whoever actually owns that music. But what else they can do is those additional videos that are not music videos, whether it's them going on live and connecting with their fans, or whether it's them doing behind the scenes, them getting ready for a show, and they just capture behind the scenes, and they upload those types of videos. Because those are also the videos that their viewers and their fans want to watch. It's not just music videos. I want to see what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know if anyone saw our YTO with Wizkid, A Day in the Life. Did people see it? Yeah, some people did. Okay, and that was a 3-hour show. So that was us taking fans behind the scenes of Wizkid basically getting ready for a show in COVID. So it wasn't a live show. It was just him, you know, going to a place, and all of that type of content is monetized. All of that type of content. So it doesn't have to be a prim and proper music video. It can literally just be you doing an acoustic session in your house, you going live, connecting with your fans, you showing them a day in the life. Like basically, artists need to also think of themselves as content creators, right? What else are you doing? Showcasing your craft and showing that to your fans, and you get to monetize that on YouTube. And I can say, I think right now, IG, you don't monetize IG in Nigeria yet. They don't have the same thing that we have in terms of AdSense. How you get to monetize that is you have a huge following. Let's say you have 1 million followers, and then brands will pay you to create content or pay you to do product placement, which you can also do on YouTube, right? Brands can also pay you to do all those types of stuff. But even without the brands, if you're a part of YPP, you can monetize that content.
All right, thank you so much, Adi. And as you were talking and listing monetization, my head was just saying, okay, what does that mean? And my question is for you, Mr. Lawani, because she's saying monetization, she's saying partnerships, and she's talking about so many people. And from my perspective as a lawyer, I'm just thinking agreements. What I'm thinking rights, I'm thinking obligations, I'm thinking risk, I'm thinking problem, I'm thinking courts. You know, how critical is this whole system of law, agreements, or maybe I should frame it like this: how important is the lawyer support to this monetization process, and how should stakeholders, from a record deal perspective, from an artist perspective, from a partner's perspective, from a telco's perspective, how should stakeholders be thinking about it?
There's something they say in law. It goes like this. Let me remember. There's some equity, right?
Yeah, you
that
can't come to equity with you.
If you must come to equity,
yeah,
your hands must be clean. Yeah. Okay. And secondly, in law or in an agreement, what you don't ask, you don't get. Whatever you get that you didn't ask for, you can be sure that you probably would have gotten 20 times that. So nobody will give to you what ordinarily they can withhold from you. And that is the whole essence of law in our lives, and business is part of our lives. So law is so important in everything that we do. And if you bring it down to business, way back 20, 25 years ago, one of the biggest problems that was bedeviling the industry was about artists accusing record companies of fleecing them, and record companies reiterating to always saying, but you signed a contract. Yeah. So artists didn't have access to legal advice, because then, again, you must give credit to people who are a bit more educated now than the caliber of artists. I mean, you have artists today who have PhDs, who have master's degrees. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that that improves anybody's intelligence tremendously, more than somebody who doesn't have those degrees, but it exposes you, at least puts you in a position to understand, be enlightened about the place of law. Artists make contracts with labels, all kind of shady contracts that they sign without reading. And they think, oh, I don't have money to contact a lawyer. If you ever sign a contract, I have been in the business of signing contracts as an artist manager, as consultant to record companies and to labels. I will always tell you, no matter how much English grammar you think you know, I have a degree in English language, I have a postgraduate degree in mass communication, but all of that means nothing if you have not been trained in law and you go about and you say you want to sign a contract that is so complex. There's something in section 1, subsection 2, paragraph 3, and it will come back in section 34. By the time you get there, you have forgotten what you read before. You are just reading more like, let it be that I read. You are not understanding. Lawyers are trained to deal with it. They are business lawyers, they are artists, they are lawyers who have specialized in dealing with entertainment issues. So nobody can succeed. If you succeed without a lawyer in your affairs, just know that you could have succeeded 20 more times if you had a lawyer. So there's no point beating about the bush or trying to overemphasize the place of law in doing contracts or in doing businesses. You buy a phone, an iPhone or any Android phone, and you have to click somewhere that says, I agree. I don't know anybody that reads those. It'll probably be like about 100 pages, small prints.
I read them.
Fine, because you're a lawyer. At the end of the day, I don't want to go into. At the end of the day, if you say, they give you the option to agree or not to agree. But the truth is that if you don't agree, you're going nowhere. You really don't have a choice, but you have agreed. It doesn't matter if you were forced. If it's so important to you that I need to know, can I move on to another Chinese version of this phone that might perform less, but I'm not constrained to sign what I don't know about? That becomes an option. So the option does not end with, if I don't sign it, I can't use an iPhone. Must you use an iPhone? Okay, these are the conditions that the iPhone manufacturers want you to agree to. So law, you can't run away from it. It is what defines the relationship. Even the company you are doing business with, law is the basis upon which they exist as a legal entity. Everything they do, if you don't have your lawyer in your corner, unfortunately, you are opening yourself to potential damage. People will say to get lawyers is very expensive, but I've also found out that it's not true. As a young artist manager, way back like in the early 90s, I used to run a clinic just by putting together a couple of my friends who were lawyers, and I was trying to introduce them into getting interested in intellectual property issues and music business law. So we formed a consortium. They gave free of their time. An artist that you probably won't remember, some of you remember Ras Kimono and some other artists, Michael Cree. Artists of that caliber at that time were having issues with their record companies. And they would come to my office every Thursday, and these lawyers would advise them for free. It was a two-way syndrome. I was trying to create a situation where the artists grow to understand the importance of lawyers and avoid mistakes they have made in the past, and also putting the lawyers into a new business fair, as it were then. And these artists are social influencers in their rights, and they tell people, oh, we're enough for this lawyer. So it was kind of a symbiotic relationship that we put together cleverly to help people. And you won't believe, a lot of them came out the better for it, because some were just on the verge of renewing their contract. Yeah. Some of them will tell you, I have a contract, it's supposed to last for only 3 years. I've done 3 years. And they say, the contract says you must make 3 albums. And it says, I've made 3 albums. So now I'm free to go. And the record company says, no. The law says 3 years, tick. 3 albums, tick. But if after those 3 albums, we have not recouped all the monies we are supposed to recoup, the contract renews automatically until such a time we have recouped that money. Either you now make a new album, or we wait until this old album accrues or brings in more money. And then they are stuck. And they say, you never told me that. No, you signed it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for those perspectives. Please put your hands together for Mr. Lawani. Okay, sir. Mr. Finney, I'm going to ask you the question that Adi asked. It wasn't my question. She said data hindered the penetration of the value in Nigeria. What exactly is the data problem? You know, like, how does it work, and what are the things that you think will create that merger of data so that people can monetize, so that value can move? Both, I mean, just looking at all stakeholders, government, regulation, customer, telcos, and creators.
Okay, thank you for that. I think to a large extent, right, the biggest challenge that telcos have in Nigeria is the cost of infrastructure and running a telecoms business. It's significantly high. There are forex issues as well in terms of getting those infrastructure into the country, because they are not manufactured here, versus other countries where we are actually importing those infrastructure from. And then also the cost of running the business in terms of diesel, power, and so on and so forth. But that does not still hinder us from meeting our obligations to deliver affordable services to our customers. And so in that regard, right, I don't know how many people have MTN app here. I struggle to agree that we don't have affordable data plans on our network. We have extremely affordable, and we have partners who come from all parts of the world saying data is actually very cheap in Nigeria compared to other markets. Honestly, you can check. Even Ghana beside here, their cost of data is highly more expensive in spite of their low infrastructure, their low operational cost. Data is actually very, very cheap in Nigeria. And beyond that, because of partnerships that we are having, like you would see around you, partnerships with Tidal, partnerships with AudioMark, partnerships with UdoX, and we have created even cheaper data packages so that you can use those packages to consume that content. I think we also have some affordable packages with YouTube as well that we are pushing to our customers. Yes, and they do a lot of bonuses as well. And so I struggle to accept or to agree that the barrier to entry is data. Perhaps there's more things like smartphones. Maybe, the smartphone penetration in Nigeria is lower compared to the markets she mentioned. People are using palasa phones, as is locally called, largely, and they can't consume this content. So the target audience is even smaller than you would expect from a population of Nigeria size. So I hope...
Yeah, it's okay. I'll let it rest there. We're running towards the conclusion, and I'll just so do you want to share a perspective? Okay, please go.
He mentioned something like Nigeria is 200 and something million. If anybody has the accurate data of how many smartphones we have in Nigeria, any guess? Some will tell you 40 million,
yeah,
80
about
million.
40% of the subscriptions in Nigeria.
Smartphone.
Yes, smartphone.
Then if you devalue that by another 40%, because there's people that carry 3 phones, so you might actually have that number substantially lower. So if there are 40 million people that have smartphones, and another 30% of that have more than one smartphone, it means you probably be looking about 20-something million. So the market in Nigeria for consuming music or for consuming content in a digital sense is grossly overrated. I make bold to say this. He said something about Balasa phone. Internet penetration, for example, and even when you have internet access in some villages, is it a school teacher that earns how much, that's going to spend how much on data to consume what they want to consume? So if we really want to be honest with ourselves and make a headway, again, we have to move away from comparing our standards with what happens abroad. What is the level of disposable income that we actually have in Nigeria? Nigeria is just a miracle that we're even recording numbers that we're recording, because it's a matter of Schultz gives me money, I give part of it to this man. The number of people who have access to disposable income, which is what you actually spend on media content, is so slim. We're just circulating money. So I would suggest that beyond the digital space, if we want to really create empowerment, people should go back to understanding, do a demographic analysis. Where is your market as a content creator or as an artist? Is my market to be found online? Like my baseline. If not, how do I engage them? I drove through Ajegule yesterday. Record shops are still blasting music by the roadside. People are still buying CDs. People still buy cassettes. We tend to overlook that. Everybody wants to be at the level of Jay-Z or Beyonce. But the truth again is, can you? You are not known in Lekki Phase 1 where you live. You want to be known in Los Angeles. It's very possible. But the chances are that if you conquer your space, territory by territory, base by base, and enlarge your circle gradually in a more reasonable way, your growth will likely be more organic, and getting on digital platform will just be to help you concretize those gains that you have leveraged. But you wake up and all you want to think of is one track, you sometimes miss it out. If your market is in Sokoto, for example, your market is somebody in Japan, you already have a language barrier. You must understand what you are selling, who you are selling to, and the best method to reach them.
Thank you very much, sir. I think that gives us the further math that we need to move on to the Q&A section. Thank you, everyone. So if you have questions, please just indicate, and a mic will be given to you. Please keep them short. Make them questions and not comments, so that we can move on quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone that's on the panel this afternoon. While we wait for questions from the audience, there's one that's coming already from online. And it says, aside from distribution platforms like TuneCore, CD Baby, and the likes, do we have a structure aside from outside platforms? I think the person means international platforms outside the country. How can a content creator copyright his work? That's 2 questions in one that's been asked.
Who is this?
This is from Peter Uluwadari.
And who would volunteer to take that, sir?
I can start.
Okay.
So it mentions, so the 2 questions are, do we have a TuneCore equivalent in Nigeria? Is that?
Well, I think these are all distribution companies based
abroad. So more like, what are the options?
What are the local options, more or less, I guess.
I'm not sure about local options, but I know that TuneCore, Africori, some of the distributors that distribute music to DSPs, so digital platforms like us, digital streaming platforms like us, do have presence locally, right? So Africori does have presence locally, TuneCore does have presence locally. So these distributors have presence locally. They may not be local-owned organizations, but they have presence locally and they work with local artists and content creators and the ecosystem. What's the second? Okay.
Copyright?
Yes.
How do you copyright your work? I mean, it's pretty simple. Essentially, there used to be many ways those days of copyrighting your works. Post it to yourself, there's a date on it which shows that you created it first and blah, blah, blah. But again, the digital age has kind of overtaken all of that, because why do you copyright a work if not because you want benefit from it? So your shortest route would be to work with organization that deal with rights management, either COSON or MCSN in Nigeria, or if you want to go international, from CSAC to BMI to whatever, ASCAP. Yeah, so you can take any of those options, and again, like I said, consult a lawyer to probably tell you what is best for you, because you don't want to do copyright for the sake of copyright. You're doing it so you can earn something if something comes up. So you give that and it can be managed on your behalf.
All right. I understand that someone from TuneCore can give us some perspective. So she's already smiling. So Shema, would you just help us?
She has a session.
Okay, so okay. Yeah, but to this question, in terms of the role that you play and the options, do you want to speak to that? Quickly, thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he actually answered it perfectly. So
Okay.
you definitely want to register with your local copyright organization. So COSON, like he mentioned, and MCSN. Then on the international level, there are thousands of them, or rather hundreds of them. So it might be tricky for you as an artist, especially you have a large catalog, to register with all of them. I know in the US, an artist, you can only register with one, you can't register with all three. So that is where you might want to look into probably working with a publishing administration company, and that's something TuneCore offers. So what you do is basically register all your music on, with all the licensing bodies all over the world. So.
All right, thank you very much, Shema. So we move on to the next question. Quickly.
Hi, good afternoon. So I have a question for Mr. Lawal. You were saying something about the distribution where you have to go from local places. You gave an example of people from Ajikule and stuff like that. But now we're in the 21st century where things are more online right now. So how do you create a balance for people that want to do their things online and also make them understand that you have to start from your home ground? How do you create that balance for them as a music promoter?
All right. Sorry, I used to be a teacher, so sometimes I try to simplify it very easily. There's COVID, right? Normally would have been sitting closer. And there are people who are following this wherever they are. We're having a hybrid event. Normally, everybody would have been in one room. When you are faced with situations, the first thing in business is to adapt. You have to be flexible. We have a COVID situation now, and we're having to adapt. So when artists or anybody in any business, because most artists they want to make money, or let me say most creators want to make money from what they do, but they do not understand it as business. So I'll keep using the word business. In any business, you ask yourself, what is my road to market? I made some notes when he was talking, and I said here, knowing your market, knowing how to access your market, leveraging your market, or ensuring your return on your investment. Be local, act local, aim to be global. You can't aim to be global until you are local first and foremost. And local is not like a bad word. Ronaldo is a local player when he's in Portugal. When he's in Spain or Italy, he's an international player in that sense. We're all local somewhere first before you're international or global. So the point I'm making is, why would you forgo the 100,000 followers or streams possibility in Ajegule by just giving your record to a roadside DJ at a popular bus stop, instead of leaving that behind, and you're chasing Jimmy Jat all over Lagos or looking for shows to play your record? And I tell people, and it might sound very silly, I do not know of any American artist that comes to hustle DJs to play their records in Nigeria. But how come when Schultz plays, if Jay-Z has a good song or Beyonce has a nice song, she'll play it? You know why? Because the breeze, what you might call the blow or the breeze of the blow is drifting across the world. And when a song is big, you can't do anything to stop it. You must play it. But how does it get big? Jay-Z does not start his promotion from Nigeria. There are still, what you see is the front burner, like the show glass display. The work that is done behind, like she said, there are publicists, there's a whole chain gang that's doing stuff. But here, an artist makes a record, posts it, is tagging everybody in the world, and your next door neighbor does not even know you have made a record. So you have to mix both. You have to mix both. Take care of your environment the best way you can. I don't need to DM my neighbor to know, for him to know that I made a record. There are still people make a living by telling you what I'm telling you, and you can look for people who can give you more in-depth analysis and guide you. Create a road to market, a roadmap for a new artist, and you'll be surprised that sometimes it's a lot easier than you think, because once you have the groundswell, people will pick it up and they will go from there. Then you now bother about the big space.
I think that deserves a round of applause. And I think that is all that we can take this afternoon. I have enjoyed the conversation, and I hope that you have too. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Opeyemi Adeyibi. But that was a good save, man. When Eddie Lawani starts, there's no stopping him. So you stopped him very nicely in the most creative way that I can think of. Thank you very much, Eddie Lawani, Adi Awofisayo, and Funshofini, and Tai Aliu. I think one of you is missing. Thank you very much. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Like I said, this conversation needs like 2-3 hours. We said it last year. We're saying it again this year. So next year, maybe we'll get 2 hours on this. Thank you very much. Thank you. Pictures, before you leave the stage. Okay, so when I finish, you say that. I just want to. Thank you very much. Would like to appreciate those who are watching and listening online. We appreciate you. If I would just fall down here now, I was going to say I will sue, but I'll be suing myself, so it's not going to happen. So shout out to you if you're listening and watching online. I want to say thank you. We live in very difficult times, to say the least. We're grateful for life, but thank you for tuning in, and we hope that you are enjoying the session, just like I am here. The panel was awesome. Eddie Lawani and co dealt with all the issues that artists need to hear to do the music, but most importantly, to get the numbers, you have to do the business as well. We are going to take a short break, but before we do, I want to let you know that there's some MTN items available here for sale. The HyperFlex, I think, Wi-Fi devices is available. MiFi device is available for 12,500. And then the MTN Android smartphone comes with free 20 gig data, all for you for 22,000 naira. So I think it's out there in front. You can get it there if you want. Shout out again to Creative Commons, AMC, Muson Center, Slice Media, Trace, TuneCore, and made brighter by MTN. I'm going to hand you over to Femi Ojo, and he's going to take you through to the next bit.
Okay, so we're going to take a 5-minute break, but before the break, just like to let everyone that is tuning in online to know that you can still keep your questions coming in. The team will ensure that we get answers to the questions from the panelists, even though we couldn't take the questions on stage here. So we take 5 minutes break. After that, we'll be having Chioma from TuneCore give a short session. Those that want to ask about distribution and licensing, she's your go-to person, and she'll give you all the info and everything you need to know. So thank you for being a great audience, and we'll see you in 5.
This is Make Music Lagos. Can you feel the beat? Every sound from every heart, it's time to let it breathe. Raise your voice, we're singing. Lift up a sound you're feeling. Let the rhythm from your heart be felt in every tune. Let the band play now. Gather round, come on, yeah. Let it flow from your heart to the wall. Let music lift up your heart. This is Make Music Lagos. Can you feel the beat? Yeah. Every sound from every heart, it's time to let it out. Raise a voice, we're singing. Lift up a sound you're feeling. Let the rhythm from your heart be felt in every tune. Let the band play now. Gather round, lift up the sound from your heart to the wall. Let it out, yeah. Put your hands like this, come on, everybody say oh, oh. Say oh, oh. Play it out, say oh, oh. Let the music flow from within your heart. Everybody say oh, oh. Sing it to the wall, bring all the instruments out. Come on.
Thank you very much. Hello, hello. Hello, hello.
This is Make Music Lagos. Can you feel the beat? Every sound from every heart, it's time to let it breathe. Raise your voice, we're singing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the Music Business Conference 2021, brought to you by Make Music Lagos, proudly supported by Show Gear, IBC Events, Zanoza Entertainment, MTN, made brighter by MTN, TuneCore,
This is Make Music Lagos. Can you feel the beat? Yeah. Every sound from every heart, it's time to let it out. Raise the voice, we're singing. Lift up a sound you're feeling. Let the rhythm from your heart be felt in every tune. Let the band play now. Gather round, lift up the sound.
Good afternoon, Lagos. My name is Teresa Itundo, and we are back to the red carpet here at Make Music Lagos Music Business Conference. Did you watch the first panel? Please tell me you enjoyed it. I am with one of the panelists, Mr. Kunsho Fini. I really like your name. I like the twist to your name. How are you doing today, sir?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. So, did you enjoy your time there?
Oh, it was awesome. I think I learned quite a lot, especially from Mr. Lawani and speaker from I think YouTube. It was quite insightful, and it gave some perspective to what I was already thinking about.
Are we looking forward to, this is not me putting you on the spot right now, but are we looking forward to MTN doing more with Make Music Lagos in the coming years?
I'm sure we will look at partnership opportunities for Make Music Lagos.
Thank you so much, Mr. Finney. Thank you for having us. I have on the red carpet with me a fine lady. Okay. Yes.
This is Make Music Lagos. Can you feel the beat? Every sound from every heart.
I have on the carpet with me a lady that combines the fine purple color beautifully. Hello, madam. How are you?
Hello. How are you?
I like your voice. I like how soft and powerful your voice is.
Thank you very much.
Did you enjoy your time on the panel, ma'am?
Yes, it was good. As a lawyer, I like to have these conversations. I work daily at my desk to improve the quality of agreements and support that the music industry gets. My law firm Templars is a leader in that space, and so for me it's always a pleasure to participate.
So, I'm sorry I have to put you on the spot a little, but would you encourage artists to walk towards you, come approach you, network, and see how your law firm can be on service?
Yes, the entire value chain, it's a business, it's trade, and we support trade, so yes.
Do you know how to sing?
Do I know how to sing? Why are you asking?
Because you have a nice voice.
Well, I do.
I was quite tempted to tell you to sing, but I will not. I will respect you, and yes, but
I actually have a good voice, but I'm just not in the mood to sing.
You know how to sing. But thank you for being part of Make Music Lagos Music Business Conference. Thank you.
With the mic to my mouth.
Okay, we're good to go. Welcome back. I hope you got a minute to get something to eat and drink. For those of us outside, please can you come back inside so we can get to the next session? If you're just joining us, it is Make Music Lagos, and it is the Music Business Conference. We've had the first panel on. We had Adi Awofisayo, Funsho Fini, Tai Aliyu, and Eddie Lawani. And that was moderated by Oyeyemi Aderibigbe. And before we went for a break, I'm sure you picked up lots and lots of information from 4 of them. And I hope you're keeping your ears open to the ground because we've got another guest coming on.
All right, so the next person that will be coming up would be Chioma Onochukwu. She's the head of TuneCore West and East Africa. She'll be telling us a little bit more about licensing and distribution. What are the issues? We'd like everyone to please join us inside. We are back. The break is over. And we'll be starting the next session right now. I hope everyone online, you are still there. We're excited to have everybody in this conference. It's the Make Music Lagos Music Business Conference 2021. And it's been an exciting time so far today, exciting conversations happening. We just finished our first panelist session, and we'll be having Chioma from TuneCore talk to us a little bit about licensing and distribution in the next 10 to 15 minutes. All right? So we welcome Chioma.
We're going to take another 2 minutes. Just give us a second. Another 2 minutes. We'll be right back. 2 minutes.
This is Make Music Lagos. Can you feel the beat? Every sound from every heart, it's time to let it breathe. Raise your voice, we're singing. Lift up a sound you're feeling. Let the rhythm from your heart be felt in every tune. Let the band play now. Gather round, come on, yeah. Let it flow from your heart to the wall. Let music lift up your heart. Let the band play now. This is Make Music Lagos. Can you feel the beat? Yeah. Every sound from every heart. It's time to let it out. Raise the voice, we're singing. Lift up a sound you're feeling. Let the rhythm from your heart be felt in every tune. Let the band play now. Gather round, gather round. Lift up the sound from your heart to let it out, yeah. Put your hands like this, come on, everybody.
Hello, please can we get everyone indoors, please? Can we have everyone indoors sitting ready to go for the next session, please?
I am standing on the cover with the most respected music promoter in Nigeria, the one, the only, the one we call Uncle Eddie, Mr. Eddie Lawani. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Was my hype good enough?
Very good, very good, very good.
I tried.
Yeah, even though these days people forget that I used to be, people look at me more now in the event space, but again, that's part of growth. So thank you for reminding them.
Uncle Eddie, you reached out, you reminded us that you had to be here when you commented on one of the Make Music Lagos posts saying, Make Music Lagos, when are you guys going to do this again? And that for us was encouraging. So I want to ask, what was it about the first time that made you want to come back again?
Well, for me, Make Music is a unique program, one of its kind in Nigeria, and I can say across Africa. What they bring to the table is part of what has been missing in the ecosystem for a long time. We say no structures, things are not right, we can only criticize. But they have gone a step further to say, okay, there are problems, how can we solve them? And they bring in education to the table, they bring in business insight to the table, they bring in, empowerment of creatives to the equation. And anybody or any organization that does this deserves our support because they are succeeding where generations have probably failed.
God bless you, sir, for that enlightenment. So, are you supporting the motion that we should give you like 2 hours next year?
I'm always willing to talk and engage. Like I said, I like teaching. I live by the principles of thinking, learning, teaching, and sharing, and then doing. Thinking, learning, doing, teaching, and sharing. So, what I know, I want to teach, I want to share. What I don't know, I want to learn about it and know more. What I already know, I want to think about it and see how valid is it, how can it be adapted, how flexible is it, how can we make it applicable to our environment for better results. So, and this tallies with what Make Music is doing. So I'll always be in support of Make Music, maybe more than once in a year, maybe lighter programs, the education programs separated from the general week. So there are a lot of people that want to learn outside of Lagos, across Nigeria. And I'm also willing to partner with them in the programs that we do, which are educational programs across West Africa, the Summer Tech School initiative as well, that teach people in show business generally beyond music. We share the same dreams, so we should roll together.
It should happen. Uncle Eddie, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being our guest.
Make music Lagos. Can you feel the beat? Every sound from every heart. It's time to let it breathe. Raise your voice, we're singing. Lift up a sound you're feeling. Let the rhythm from your heart be felt in every tune. Let the band play now. Gather round, come on, yeah. Let it flow from your heart to the wall. Let music
All right, so we are good to go. Could we all please have our seats? The session is about to start. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be having Choma Onochukwu from TuneCore. If you have anything you'd like to know about licensing and distribution of music in Nigeria and across Africa, she's your go-to person, and she'll give you everything that you need. If you're having challenges or you need a little bit of help in your, your licensing and distribution, she has a lot to say. Okay. All right. So please welcome Chioma now to have a session. We'll be having 10 minutes to discuss about licensing and distribution. A round of applause for her, please.
Hello. How is everyone doing?
I'm looking at all of you. There are a lot of people here. Just put your hands together. It's easy, and clap. That's better. Thank you very much. Now you can go on.
Thank you. Thank you. Everyone looks amazing. First off, I want to say thank you to my friends at Make Music Lagos for this opportunity to be here to talk to you guys. I hope you're having an amazing time. I'll try my best not to bore you with this. So hi again, my name is Choma Onochukwu. I am the head of TuneCore for West and East Africa, and I want to talk to you about music distribution and licensing. So first off, let's start with distribution. What is it exactly? If you were in the last session, you must have heard Mr. Lawani talk about distribution, things like getting your music on with the DJs and things like that. That's basically kind of what it is, but the focus for me today would be on digital distribution. So what that really means is how are you getting your music to your fans or your potential fans? What efforts are you putting in place? If we know 10 years, 20 years ago, it was very difficult to get your music on streaming platforms, the likes of a Spotify, Boomplay, Apple Music. We didn't even have them there. We had a few in the picture, but to get your music up there then was quite difficult. You either had to have a record label with a very big record label company, or you have to pay, and which is something interesting enough is still happening now, people paying hundreds of thousands of naira to get their music on Boomplay, Spotify. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. Now, I want to touch a bit on some of the challenges I've seen artists face with music distribution. One being, how much should it cost you to put your music on a streaming platform like Boomplay, Spotify, and the rest of them? It shouldn't be costing you 100K to put your music on streaming platforms. With TuneCore, it's basically around, it's less than 5,000 naira. We charge in dollars, so it's $9.99, so that's basically less than 5,000 naira with the current exchange rates. It shouldn't cost you 100K to put your music on a streaming platform. The second thing that comes up quite a bit is, what's the ease of getting your music on a Spotify? It's interesting that I've come across a lot of artists who have no clue how to get their music on Boomplay. Boomplay that has an office here in Spotify, but a lot of people still don't have an idea. They think they still need to go through someone, or maybe they need to work with a music aggregator here. And something interesting to notice, they too distribute their music with the likes of a TuneCore and our various competitors. The beauty with TuneCore is we celebrate independent artists. What we do is we offer you a tool that, the ease is that you can actually by yourself distribute your music on these platforms without anybody in the middle. Now, another very important part is the question around, am I signing anything with the distributor I'm working with? Whether it's TuneCore, whether it's a local music aggregator here, whether it's any of our competitors, do you have to sign? And that is a research you now have to do to find out, okay, how exactly is their model put in place? What model do they have? Is it subscription? Do I have to split a portion of my revenue? Or is it free? We've had the free ones. And you need to ask yourself the question, how free is it exactly? How is this business making money? So you need to ask yourself those questions. So there are people who will say, I don't have the money for my music, this one, that one has happened. Again, we've heard here on stage that you need to treat your music as a business. I too will say it. You need to treat your music as a business. So if you say you don't have the money and you want to go for the free or the cheap options, okay, make sure you're reading the fine print to know what you're getting yourself into. And then if you're going for the cheaper option, you have to ask yourself the question of, okay, I guess I'm going to have to get what I am paying for. If it's cheap, what other services are you looking for that you're potentially not even getting? Are you getting the customer support you need? For instance, if you had an issue, are you able to reach out to someone and then respond to you within 24 to 48 hours? These are questions you need to ask yourself. Now, another one that comes up quite a bit is that, and I think I touched on it a little bit, is the question around your royalties. How is it split? Are you splitting it with anyone, or do you keep everything to yourself? Like I said, there's so many distributors out there, so you need to do the research. With TuneCore, we do not split royalties with you. Your streaming royalties from the DSP when you distribute. You get 100% of 100%. We run a subscription model, so what that means is you pay for whether you want to release a single or you want to release an album, whatever the case may be, and then you put your music out there. Whatever money you make from the streaming platforms, and Keynote, we distribute to over 150 worldwide. You get to receive all of that royalties. We don't work with a middleman. A lot of distributors have middlemen. What that means is they will pay the stores, take their cut from the royalties received from your streaming, then the middleman takes his before it comes to you. Of course, you can do the math to see that a portion of your royalties is going to be cut off. So that's essentially music distribution. I want to also say this when it comes to artists treating their music as a business. You need to look at it in, this is how I always like to describe it, the stages of your music, the ready music. You have the production phase. That is why you have the composition, sound recording, and things like that. The second is just the distribution. And then the last is, of course, your promotions, especially if you're an independent artist. I'm talking to those who are doing it on their own, or maybe you hired a team. I don't know if you know anything about the 4 Ps of marketing. It's kind of similar, where you have maybe the price, you have the product, you have the placement, and you have promotion. Price, typically, when it comes to music business, is tricky for you to have control over that. But there's one area you can, and I'll mention that when we get to licensing. Then you have the product, of course, which is the music, split into 2 parts. I'll go into that a little bit more. Hopefully, I'm not running out of time. But then you think of placements. That's where distribution comes in. That's what the last panel mentioned comes in, where if you want to have your music as CDs or whatever, you need to think about where are your fans and how do you reach them. Are they using Spotify? Are they using Boomplay? Are they using Udwex? Understand the audience of those streaming platforms and pick whether, oh, you want to distribute. Maybe you're just starting out. You can choose to distribute to 150 of them and then use the analytics. That's another thing we offer you. You have an analytical dashboard as a TuneCore artist to see what is happening with your music. Am I getting streams in China, Japan, Brazil? I'll be just somewhere in Lagos, in Nigeria. You can use that information to advise you next time on, okay, gives you the insight into, okay, I need to focus here. Maybe I need to go on tour here. Or maybe I need to do something in these places. So those are things to consider. And of course, we have promotions. We touched on it. You can set aside a budget to talk about your promotions. You can figure out free ways to promote your music. Share your music on WhatsApp with friends and family, or become your local hero, like they mentioned. Those are really good insights. Now let's jump into licensing, because this is the one that usually freaks everybody out. Me too. I won't lie. It's complicated. So I will talk about licensing under the umbrella of publishing administration, which is something we also offer. So what that basically entails is, now with distribution, the royalties you collect is something called your streaming royalties. And typically that's royalties that is owed to the person who owns the master sound recording. So when a music is made, there are typically 2 copyrights that come out of that. So there's the composition/songwriter copyrights. That is a person who actually, and I was talking to my friend over here about it, that is where the person who made the lyrics, the melody, the beats, owns what you call the composition. And then you have the master recording, where it's the final product, typically the first sound recording, and it typically belongs to the artist who put their voice down, put their vocals down on that composition. So the royalties you get from distribution typically come from streaming royalties that you get from the streaming platforms. Now, there's the other angle and where you must consider licensing, because as a publisher, that's typically the person who owns the composition, that's the lyrics, the beats, and things like that, everything that make up the music. You could be making money somewhere around the world, even in Nigeria here. That's where you heard them talk about COSON. That one, you need to think about registering your compositions, every single one of them, whether you have one or you have a full catalog, with your local, what we'll call like your collection management organization, so your copyright associations like COSON that we have here, GAMRO in Ghana. What they typically do is they collect something called performing royalties. So that is where someone uses maybe like a live band, for reasons, that performs your music. Typically, they should get a license, something called a performing license, where they pay you, who is the owner of the composition, for using their music because they are recreating it. Now, there are two types of licenses. I've mentioned one, or two types of royalties, let me say. Performance royalties. When you hear that, consider I am licensing this piece of content to play it. Then you think about another called mechanical. This is typically what is owed to the composer. When you hear that, and someone is asking for a mechanical license, think about it as I am licensing it to sell. That's where you see people that would maybe approach a copyright owner, like someone that has the beats composition of the music, and they're saying, I want this, I want to get a license because I want to make a cover. That is where, so they are making it to sell. And then the other one is, I want to perform it live, or maybe I have a restaurant and I want to play music. So now you could have music playing on around, and you need to register with over 100 of these performing rights, what we call performing rights organizations, PROs, all over the world, and there are about 100 and so of them. And of course, as an artist or a composer or a publisher, whatever you call yourself, how are you actually going to go about doing that? Especially if you have a huge catalog. That's where you might want to consider a publishing administrator, something that Chinko also offers. There's 4 things we do. So one is we'll help you register your content with all the publishers, because we already have a relationship with all of them. So what that does, it gives you a blanket cover for any time someone goes to, whether it's in Brazil or in the US, and they say they want to get a license because they want to be able to play music. Now, if you're registered through your publisher, in the US, it's like ASCAP, BMI, SOCAN, CESAC. You're covered. So every time your music is played in wherever, and you know Nigerian music now, we're catching on internationally. Say you have a song that has blown, for instance, you're covered, especially if you're registered with one of these, with a publishing administration company. So I hope that's kind of clear with what that is. Now, another one to think about, sorry, I was talking about what we do as a publishing administration. So we help register, we help you issue licenses, so that if someone comes now and they say, oh, they want to make a cover of your composition, we were the ones to help issue the person the license for that. So you get paid a license fee. It takes me to the third point, the collection of your royalties. So we'll help you get the license fee for the person who wants to license your mechanicals. And then if they are streaming it, say they make a cover of the song and they put it on Spotify, we help you collect that. You might be wondering, why do you need a PRO to register with the PRO and also register with the publishing? PROs only handle performance royalties. They don't handle mechanicals. So if someone makes a cover and they put it on a streaming platform, they don't collect that. That is where you need a publisher to step in and collect those royalties for you, and then that's paid out to you as a composer. Now, another thing I want to talk about, or 2 things I want to talk about under licensing, is, let me start with the last one, which is the micro-sync licensing. So that is micro-synchronization licensing. What that means is, or basically what it is, for instance, when someone on YouTube uses your music in their video. So synchronization, let me take it back. So synchronization is where a piece of content is added to another piece of content, typically moving images. So that is where, for instance, you're watching a TV show and you hear a song. Maybe you've never heard it before, but it catches your attention. That's synchronization right there. Or maybe it's a song you know, could be a Burna Boy song that's be used in a US movie or something like that. That's what synchronization is. And that's something else you need to consider. So when you work with a publishing administration company like TuneCore, you have the option to basically be pitched to TV shows, advertisements, even gaming, and have your music placed in those pieces of content, those moving content. And then you are paid a licensing fee, a synchronization licensing fee, and then it's something that is recurring. You get royalties from that as well. Similar concept with the microsync, which is where this is a case of something like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook as well, where your content is being used. You're also able to earn royalties from there. So I'm running out of time, but all I can say is that if you want more information, please visit tunecore.com. We've also partnered with our friends at Make Music Lagos to offer a 20% discount for first-time distributors, so you can get started with your music distribution. So thank you, guys. I don't know, do we have any time for questions?
Yes, I was just going to say, now that she's done, if you have any questions, you have about 5 minutes, so if you have any questions, you can put them through to her now.
Any questions? Or was it that good?
Hold on, let's start from there. Okay. Give him the mic.
My name is John. So my
John.
question is this. I am a classical singer. So for people like us, that most of the music we sing are already pre-existing music and written music. So how do you license such a music?
So are you using a composition that already exists?
Yes, probably singing idle music, a Bach music.
Yeah, you have to get a mechanical license for that.
So you need to get mechanical license from the composer.
From the composer.
Then, okay.
So you don't enter trouble.
Yeah.
Sorry, but following what he said, I think I was told once a composition is up to 70 years, you can work on it without a license from the
Yes,
composer.
I
Is no longer
have
alive.
seen that as well. So typically when a song is copyrighted, it does last for 70 years. So yes, that's possible. But I'll say do your research to be sure that it probably wasn't renewed or something as well. So, yeah. Question?
Hello? Okay.
Hi.
Hi. So nice to meet you. And I think the first question is in terms of licensing. I run a music marketing agency and we fund artist project promotion. So we're also looking to work with distribution systems like you guys. But the question I have right now is, what's the success rate with you placing African sounds in TV placements, in shows and all that kind of stuff? What's your success rate with that, working with TuneCore? And promotion offers. Since you work with independent artists, we focus on independent artists alone because we only fund them. So the question is, what can you offer that let's say, a DistroKid or a Lander or these other platforms don't offer? Why should we pick it?
Sorry, what was the first question again?
First question, success rate with licensing placement.
Yes, so we've had a few success rates. Now, the thing to note with that is because obviously there's a huge catalogue and we're pitching, depending on the number of people who request to be pitched, you understand, it's all dependent. So there's not always a guarantee that your track would be picked. But I know in Nigeria, I think about a year or two ago, we had someone, his name is John, he is based in Lagos, that his track was used in a movie. We're currently right now in conversations with one of the artists, Enrique Hassani, for the potential of having his music in like an indie movie right now. So of course it's all, do you understand, is yes, all subjective. Then the last question was about what TuneCore offers over...
Yeah, promotion, like what else? Because we focus on promotion, so what can you offer that we can...
So that was, the thing with us at TuneCore, we don't come out saying that we're offering promotion. We don't offer promotion. It's not part of our business model. Again, because of the size of our catalog, we can't cater to everyone. So that's something to note. So typically it's expected, even if we did, it's expected as you as an artist to invest in your own career as well. You need to look at it as a business. If you were starting a bottled water company, would you just go and deliver it to the stores and fold your hands? You also have to put in an effort as well to put your music out there. So no, we don't offer promotion services. It's not part of our business model. Do you have any other questions?
No. I think I was trying to clarify that because we're B2B, so it's business to business, not artist to business. So what I'm looking at is not I'm not looking at the money. We have the money to fund the project promotion, but platform, what else do you have? So these services, for instance, we are partnered with like Sound City, Auburn TV, and them radio stations, right?
Okay,
we have
are you referring
what
to
do you
like
have?
artist services?
Pretty much. What do you have that we can push the projects through your platform?
So that's part of the reason why I was hired. So I don't want to give up too much just yet, but I'll say watch this space. There's a few things I'm working on. I've identified that music promotion is a big deal in Africa as a whole. I've seen that, I've talked about it. Then part of my job is to do a competitive analysis to see what are the needs and pain points of my market. I've identified that as one of them. Yes, TuneCore doesn't offer promotions, but there are some things in the works. So
we should do partnerships.
We'll talk later.
Watch this space, like you said. Yeah,
no, I
watch
think we
this
have
space.
a separate conversation.
We'll take, I think, 2 more questions. If there are there any more questions? Here, yeah. We'll
My
take
friend
one
in the
more.
back, you don't have any. I answered your question earlier. Okay, sorry. Can you hear me tapping? I hope I answered your questions because we were talking earlier on. Okay, cool. Sorry. Go on.
Okay.
Okay, good afternoon.
Hi,
Yeah,
afternoon.
I'm Nonso.
Hi.
So, I wanted to ask you, do you think, okay, with the prevalence of, DSPs and all that, do you think music piracy is, like, going to go away? Or is still going to be a problem for a while?
Sorry. Just don't get me started on that one. So, it's probably going to still be a problem for a bit. That's part of the reason why I am on this stage, because I think part of the problem is artists as well. So if you look closely with these piracy sites, they say promote your music. That is what they say. So they charge you a lot of money to have your music on these platforms. But what's the return on investment for you as an artist that is bringing this forward? So the thing is, you still have a lot of artists patronizing these websites. So it starts with the artists. So we've identified, and it's one of the pain points I can also say we've noticed, is people don't have a lot of information. That's my reason why I'm on this stage talking about distribution, the challenges and things like that, and licensing. So it's still something that will probably be around for a bit. So what I can say is now you have businesses like Ndundu, you have businesses like Aftown in Ghana, Ndundu in Kenya, Aftown in Ghana. You have Afro Chats, I think in Botswana or somewhere in Southern Africa now, that are coming in with a different model from the typical DSPs like the Spotifys, where what they're trying to do is kind of almost be like Audio Max, so to say, where they're allowing you to put your music on their platform. And then artists, music fans or music listeners are able to download it onto their phone. And then because they run advertising on their websites, they're able to pay out a portion of that to the artist based on number of downloads or maybe streams, depending on what they have on there. So there are efforts being put in place to help cut this down. I know some of them are also doing their best to, help boost their, the SEO of those platforms, so that when you search free music download, because that's what they search for, they are showing up rather than all those types of websites. So there's some things being done, so to say, by, people, but it probably would take some time. So that's why I'll say education comes into play, being able to inform people and letting them know, listen, that money you're burning here, you can split it into this and that and use it to do this and that instead of this, and hopefully get something in return, so to say. So, yeah.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions online here. This one is from Blessed. He says, what if you are already signed to a song trust? Can I still register with TuneCore? Same guy also says, does TuneCore also help register an artist on with PROs?
Yes, so let me start with the last questions. Yes, as a publishing administration, that's what we do. We help you get registered with all the PROs, I think 100 and so of them all over the world. Now, if you're already signed with Song Trust, I believe that is particularly what they do. So there might be a breach you might be crossing if you do that. Typically, you're supposed to be with one, if I'm not mistaken. So unfortunately, I think, you have to.
Okay, if there are no more questions, we'd like to thank you, Chioma Onuchukwu.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Such a great show. Thank you. Okay, well, the show must go on. We've got the next panel coming up. but we want to show massive love to those who are listening and tuned in online. We love you, like we say on my station. We love you, and we appreciate the fact that you are following us with everything that we're doing. Make Music Lagos loves you very much. We also want to give a huge shout out to some of the people who are supporting Made Brighter by MTN, TuneCore, AMC, Creative Commons, Trace, Slice Media, yay, and Mission Center. So we're going to move on to the next panel. And on that panel, we have Khadija Okunu-Lamidi, Bakare, Banker Music, and Rima Tahini. And that's going to be moderated by Godwin Tom. This discussion is going to be epic. So Femi is going to start by reading out some of the bios, and then I'll come and help him along the way.
All right, so thank you for that. Like she said, we are going to be having our second panelist session right now, and I'll be reading out the profile of the panelists. So we start off with Rima Tahini. She's the director of artists and repertoire at Maven Global, one of the biggest indigenous record labels in Africa, founded by Don Jazzy. She's also a senior advisor at Kupunda Capital. Okay? She has had a unique career trajectory from energy and finance to now developing music talents. Okay? She graduated from the African Leadership Academy in 2012, winning the Alan Gray Gold Prize for Excellence in Entrepreneurship. She also graduated with a degree in Business and Economics from Brandeis University in 2016. Before graduating from university, she worked within the energy space at Tata Africa Holdings. But right now, she's played a key part in the development of one of the most successful names in Afrobeat. So let's, with a round of applause, welcome her as she gets on the stage.
Come on, we can do better than that. I'm not going to beg for this clapping. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
Okay, so move on to our next panelist, which is Banke. Akin Dejoye Shalom Olu Banke is a Nigerian performing and recording artist. She holds a BA degree in music from Obafemi Awolowo University and is known for electrifying performances with her band, the Collage Band. She currently has 4 singles out, Mirror, Lights, Jeje, and recently released a song For You. Her songs and creativity allows her pop-infused talent to tap into the atmosphere of love, encouragement, and staying hopeful, and features her creative ability to write and perform without hesitation. With a round of applause, can you please welcome Banke as she joins the panelists on stage.
Thank you. We're moving on to Khadija Mobolanle Okunu-Lamidi. She is a Nigerian businesswoman and leading media executive. Before finding Slice Media in 2016, she served a brief stint with the Lagos State government at the esteemed LASA. Slice Media is a top brand agency in Lagos with strong partnerships across Abuja, Onitsha, Port Harcourt, and beyond. She is an excellent communicator, passionate humanitarian, and successful entrepreneur. She is also a skilled public speaker and a transformational leader. Unabashed in her advocacy for gender balance and socially youthful development, she continues to project opportunities for women and currently champions a CSR water initiative which provides drinking water to the most undeserved and disenfranchised communities in the state. The list goes on. Please help me welcome Khadija Mobolanle Okunu-Lamidi to the stage. Thank you. Okay, we're going to split this, so follow me as I read, because this was like a dictionary I'm about to read now. So, Godwin Tom is one of Africa's entertainment industry profile change agents. With the talent for being detailed, oriented, and analytical, he's constantly, you will not, where are you? Yeah. I saw you out of the corner of my eye. With a talent for being detailed, oriented, and analytical, he is constantly driving the management changes within the sector. He focuses on developing tailor-made strategies that suit the business needs and goals of his clients. Femi, you can take it from here.
All right. Over the years, he has successfully worked with talents such as Wizkid, Davido, Waje, MI, Wande Cole, Bez, Ice Prince, Show Them Calm, Beverly Naya, Young Six, Jesse
Said that
Jack.
I said we'll be writing a dictionary.
Rooftop MCs, Solid Star, IOJ, Goldie, and many others. His body of work has spanned across tourism, branding, and marketing media, events, sports marketing, and has put him in contact with top African brands such as Globalcom, Diola Seco, Diamond Bank, Sterling Bank, and some international brands such as BT, Nokia, Pepsi, among others. Godwin has dedicated the last 4 years of his career to developing and training future stakeholders and leaders of the entertainment industry through his music business programs. The most recent being the just concluded Music Business Academy for Africa 2020, sponsored by Sterling Bank, a success story registering over 300 students from African countries for the 3-month online program and the 1-month bootcamp. He's also the author of the ebook series Journey of a Learner, a 12-part ebook series about navigating the African entertainment industry.
Let's not forget, hold on, let's not forget his 12 years of experience as a talent manager and business development executive. Over 18 years in the industry overall as an artist and talent manager. And my God, does he do that very well. And practical experience at the management level for marketing, public relations, and a whole lot of other things.
This is my event.
No, you have to go there first. So
it is officially my event.
You are going to go there and walk up now. How will the applause enter? You're already sitting down.
I can stand.
Okay, just put your hands together for him. Thank you. So take it away, panel. We're looking forward to a very interesting conversation already.
Thank you. So most times I'm usually on that side. But what I've learned coming up in the industry is sometimes we men talk too much, right? And most of the time we talk without a level of empathy. So today we're going to listen. Yeah? I do have questions, but we'll do more of listening. Are we cool? We're good? Thank you very much. You're welcome. I think I will ask the same questions and I'll just let it run through. I know that experiences are different. So I'll start from the closest person to me. Thank you. I think we'll just jump right into it. As a female in the entertainment industry, what are your biggest challenges?
Hi everyone, I'm happy to be here. Okay, so just to go right into the question, I think that the first thing is as basic as when you walk into a room and you're probably not as tall or as big or as large, or you don't have a deep voice, you're not a man. There's that, like, they're almost looking past you to find who's the Oga behind you. And worse, if you walk into a room with a guy who is your colleague, you're probably their boss too, but then they're like addressing them and it's like you're not there. So that is like, you know, it's not as deep. You think I was going to say something very deep, but truly that is number one. Because what that does is that if you don't have a very strong self-esteem as a woman, you will feel you just shrink into yourself immediately, or you start feeling a sense of doubt, or you go into a place where you want to overly assert yourself immediately and show your power just because you felt disrespected. And I think that is number one. And then I think number two is that, I think we were just talking about it, the idea that you do so much behind the scenes, and where I would say, speak for myself, you know, sometimes I'm not very good at how, I'm not very good at branding myself. I think that's something that I feel like men, it comes naturally to them. And I was telling you that, like, it really goes back down to, like, how you're probably raised as a woman to, like, not overly sell yourself, to be humble, to not be pompous, and like you want your work to speak for itself. But like in an industry where they're not really checking to give you your flowers like that, you really need to like make some noise for yourself. And for me, that's a challenge personally, and I'm still learning how to do that.
Thank you. Banke.
Hello everyone.
Okay, I'll talk from my own experience. I feel the biggest problem a woman faces is there's this notion that people think women are difficult to work with, or women don't, what's the word? Women are just there to sit down. This is what you're meant to do. This is the blueprint. Don't do past this. This is, I'm telling you what to do. They don't give women the space to express themselves. And although the narrative is changing now, but the biggest problem is women don't have that space to show themselves by themselves. Yeah, that's my own problem.
Thanks. Hi, Khadija.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm not in the music industry. I'll speak from a branding perspective. When I heard you earlier, I think you brand yourself pretty well. I think everything happens to fall on branding. Your authenticity as a woman, or your authenticity as an artist. You have to always know your why and always go back down to your core. So whatever situation you find yourself in, I know sometimes it can be difficult for women, but ultimately you know what you are. You have to always look in the mirror every day and practice and just be sure of who you are. Don't be shaken regardless of whatever the situation is. And life is ups and downs. The same issues you have, you need to understand that men have it too. They're just able to mask it better and easier. So you need to be able to do the same. So we're in the world, nobody's gonna, there's a balance coming. We're getting to that balance, but you have to pull yourself up. And yeah, we have many men supporting us now, and you have women supporting women more. So there's a misconception that women don't help women. It's not true. So yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, what are your challenges, specifically in the space that you work, that you think need to be addressed?
Okay, I will not talk about the challenges of business.
For
those are the
you
challenges.
as a woman?
Yes, no. Challenges as a businesswoman. Yeah. So it's challenges that have to do with business. Every other thing is, we compete every day. So you compete equally with men and you compete equally with women. So the challenges I have are the same: access to funds, and sometimes what else could come along? Just the general business problems that people face, but it has nothing to do with gender, I don't think.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to start from you and come back this way. Because you said something really interesting, which is that the same challenges men face, women face those challenges as well. So my question here would be, do you think that is it just a perception, or do you think that there's less participation of women in the industries that exist generally? And if there is, what are your thoughts about fixing that? What do you think needs to happen for that to be fixed? That's if you think so. So the first question is, do you think that there is a deficit or less of a participation from women, and why would you think that is happening, and then what can be done?
Okay, I do think there is a deficit. We haven't even scratched the surface. This happens to have, I think this is because, these things, how do they say, old habits die hard. Women have not really been encouraged to go into some areas and some businesses. There are some businesses that we do dominate, but now we see men competing with us in those businesses as well. So we also have the right to compete. So we just need to educate women more. I know that you do have the right to compete in male-dominated industries as well. So I think it's more education, enlightenment, business education, because as much as you go to school, we're very educated. Women do excel very, very smartly. But then business education is, you learn the ropes during the course of your journey. So it's never foolproof. So they just have to get into the grind and go with the flow.
Interesting. I'm going to twist the question a little bit different for you, Banke. So why do you think that there are less women who are musicians? And why do you think that is the case?
Okay, I think there are less women in the music industry. Why? I just feel a generation was skipped, and we don't encourage ourselves. I would say when I was in university, I was looking up to Tiwa Savage, I was looking up to Yemi Alade, and there was an age bracket. We have like, oh, when I get to this age, I probably would blow, because everybody at that age bracket was blowing. But then I got to that age bracket and nothing was happening to me. And I was confused. I was like, I'm getting older. When will my turn come? But nothing was happening. And then I just saw that a lot of people in my space didn't really get any attention. And then they moved to people that were younger. So a lot of ladies in my space, my age brackets in quotes, are not really signed, are not really popular. You would not see, I don't want to say my age yet, but you will not really see my age brackets in this space like that. And then you see people younger than us now getting attention, and you are confused. Did we do something wrong, or are we not getting it right? And that's why I started saying, oh, okay, let me start doing something else. I did your course in music business, the Music Business Academy. It was amazing, and I learned new things. I learned how to put myself out there, not only musically now, but the business side of it. But I feel like if we just encourage, everybody that has talent should be given an opportunity, regardless of how old you are. So if you say that, oh, you're just going to give me a lot of wahala. I've worked with older women, so I'm not going to work with older. That is how I feel. I'm not saying that is how it is, but that is how I feel. That's how I feel. So let me just not.
Okay, I'll come back to you, because there are a few things you've said that kind of, my antenna went up a bit. But yeah, so in terms of, I'm going to come to you now, Nima. In terms of I'm trying to ask the same question differently, so it's peculiar to your situation. You are in a very unique position, and you've kind of, we've had a brief conversation. So you've kind of shifted between different positions around the organization, and it's mostly leadership positions. Are you in conversations with other women across the industry who are doing the same thing, or is there anyone there in that space that you can speak to when because normally I have situations where there's stuff I want to think about, there's stuff I'm thinking about, and I call someone who's doing something similar, and I say, here are my thoughts, what are your issues? Do you have the same thing as a woman in the position you sit, right, to actually do that?
This is a really good question. I don't think I've ever been asked that. So we have a lot of women at Maven, so there's definitely that. I have colleagues, but I'm fairly new as well in this industry, particularly in the side of the business, right? I've worked a lot on the investment side of it, and then ops, and then like really now developing artists in the last, I would say 3 years. And no, actually, no. I don't have women that are in a similar position as me that I can call up and like brainstorm with, or like, maybe like adjacent industries like fashion. Maybe like, most of my friends are probably consultants and are working in other fields. So I don't know. And that's very interesting. I think it's very telling, because it's not that they don't exist. It's because I go back to my initial point, is that there's the branding, selling yourself, putting yourself out there. I know so many male managers outside of like Maven, right? You hear about the popular superstar managers, and probably only one female manager I know of that I've heard of in the legends, So it's not that they didn't exist. There's so many women in the industry, guys. They're fantastic makeup artists, fantastic stylists, video directors, producers. Most producers are female because women are just more organized. Sorry to say, I don't want to sound sexist. More attention to detail. And I'm generalizing because you'd meet some men that are like just, you know, as equally as competent. But that's just the truth. Like, you have women who are, to work in this industry, you need to have a lot of empathy. You need to be a good listener. You need to have that sense of, like, that natural, innate, like, sense of care for other people. And I'm not saying men don't, but there's a way we're wired as well. You know, sometimes our upbringing, it plays to our advantage and our disadvantage. So there's that. And I think that, like, it's just that they are not celebrated as much. They are placed and positioned in such a weird way most of the time. You just see them in music videos, and you're like, I don't want to be that. And if they're female artists, they're pit against each other to fight each other because there could only be one queen bee. Or if they are, whatever they do in the industry, it's like, it's either they are like, there's only one spot, ma'am, or it's, yes, you, but let's talk about the guy in the room. So, yeah, I don't think it's not that they're not there, just to go back to your earlier question. And yeah, I would love to know more women in my position.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to Khadija, mainly because this particular topic is her area of specialization. So I have a small group of women that I speak to, and they are people who are very interested in the music industry, but they struggle with how to come in or how to start a career. Now, initially, I thought I was setting up this group to advise them, you know, give them advice. But then the more they spoke to me, the more I realized I didn't have any of the answers that they needed. And that opened my eyes to the fact that, okay, maybe I needed more women speaking to these women, which now brought in my new struggle. A lot of the women that I spoke to reacted in a, I don't really want to be out there. I've done this work, I just want to do my job and go home and not be bothered. And this is genuine feedback I've gotten from women who have worked really hard, that I considered strong people, that have done some great work. And they're like, look, Godwin, I see what you're doing is great, but cheers, right? So the question is kind of two questions. The first one is, what do you think is the reason for that type of mindset towards mentorship? And secondly, how can that be changed from a position of branding? How do we help encourage more women to be role models, to be mentors?
All right. First things first. I think maybe you didn't explain what the ladies needed to the women properly. Maybe they didn't get what it was that, you know, was required of them. Maybe they thought it was going to be, you know, taking a lot of their time or taking a lot of their energy. That could be an issue. That could be a reason for them turning it down. I just want to absolve them from any blame right now.
I mean, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but you know what I've explained to them is it's a 30-minute to 1 hour session. You're talking to a few women.
You know, sometimes mentorship, you have to, you earn it. So just sometimes people walking up to you and say, oh, can you be my mentor? You don't really ask to be mentored. It just happens. If you do the right things, you're in the right place, you show some kind of level of effort, people generally tend to look at you and the mentorship starts, the relationship starts. So it's not something that is really, you know, formal and fixed. So that could also, if they don't really know the girls, or the girls haven't approached them and try to find a way, you know, into their hearts. And that's another thing. Girls always think they cannot approach women. It's relatively easy to do that. Just walk up, and you know, you always, you know, if you get a no, you get a yes at some point. And then what was the second question?
The second question is, what can be done to
Okay,
encourage them.
For branding.
Yeah.
Okay. For a woman as an artist or in the music industry, I think before you get into the industry, you need to plan. There needs to be long-term planning. So you need to understand what your brand, what you want to say, how you want to say it, who your audience is, how you want to. Are you in it for the long haul? Do you want to just get a tad bit of fame and go into other things? What are your strong points? What did you study? What's your passion? If you're going to be, if you're a business person, being in front of the camera is not really your thing. Your thing is really going to be at the back end, the business end of the music. So you have to figure out what side of the music is, and if your strong point is not the business part, you need to get people who handle that for you properly. Going into being an artist, I think everything has time frames. So you also need to, just like with business, long-term investments, you need to invest right. And women normally go in there. You need to start owning things. You can't really grow without owning what your craft. So sharing it with everybody is great, but you need to also own a piece of it for the future. And so I see some artists that you don't have your equipment, or you don't start being able to shoot your own videos and owning it. You're not able to. I mean, the same things. The men are doing it from a business angle. So why are you disadvantaged because you're just the show person? But a lot of things still go. So you have to figure out what your brand is. What is it exactly you want to say? How, like she talked about distribution. Your brand. Who do you want to associate with? Who do you want to work with? How do you want to be seen? Who do you want your audience to be? But all those come from who you are. You cannot. Yes, you can tailor it. People tailor who. A Tiwa might be different. The Tiwa brand might be different from the Tiwa girl. But you still have to package something and be sure that you can embody it. And from there, once you're able to discover what your brand is, create the collateral around it, so your logo, your brand, and then it's easier for people to identify you. So you have an identity. Once you have an identity, you can then do other things, other streams of income apart from the music, that the artist side of you. So I think when any females are going into music now, they need to just go into it as a business. So you're not going, you have the passion, you have the voice, awesome. But you need to just go into it, sit down and do the business, get the business education, and then once you launch, you'll be able to go far.
Fantastic. Thank you for that little masterclass. So, Banke, I'm going to ask you a similar question, just differently. And the reason why I'm throwing the questions differently is because these are 3 different women with 3 different experiences and 3 different, really, skill sets. Right, so it would be wrong for me to ask the same question to the same people. So, Banke, my question to you is, as a younger artist, right, what do you think are the common mistakes younger artists make when looking for mentorship from bigger artists? What do you think are those things that younger artists are doing wrong? Because I know we can talk about the issue of the bigger artists not reaching down, right? And not opening doors or not mentoring. But what do you think are the wrong things that younger artists are doing that might make that conversation difficult?
Okay. I honestly, to be honest, I don't think they are doing anything wrong because they just want to learn.
Okay.
Or I do not feel, maybe the approach, and maybe they just casually walk up to the person and there's no respect, and you feel, you are up there, you've been there, tell me, just give me, let's just rough it and everything. But There's something she said about empathy. I feel most people up there don't have that. They feel they're up there, and the people down there feel, I mean, you're up there, just help me. It will not take anything from you to say, this is the way to go. It's not going to take anything from you. I mean, it's not going to add to your certificate or take away from your bank account. So over time, people reach out to older people and they just shun them. So you get scared. I hardly walk up to people because I don't want to get shunned. And I'm a very emotional person. I can start crying in front of you just because you told me no. So I rather not. I'll just stay in my lane. And if I see you're a nice person or we're just having a conversation and I see, I can chip in something, I would say it. But I've had situations where I spoke to people normally like this, and then I go to them later and I'm like, this is what I do. Can you help me? Can you, or not even help, just tell me what to do? And it's like, it was just that moment. I really don't want to talk to you again. And I'm like, okay, but I thought, like, I don't need to know you, but you know me from this place, and I'm not asking you for money. I'm just asking you for word of advice. And so I don't think they are doing anything wrong, except you don't know this person and you just walk up to the person and feel some type of entitlement that you just have to tell me. But if you have, like, not a relationship, but you've had a conversation with this person and this person knows you, I feel it would not take anything from you to just say, this is what you can do. Once, twice, and if I'm doing it and I come back to you and say, you told me to do this, I did it, and you're impressed, I mean, I can always come back to you, but I don't feel ladies have that safe place to go to say,
yeah.
Ladies have that safe place to go to say, I can talk to you. I don't think ladies have that. Men, guys have that, but...
Banker. Okay, quick one. Do you think when you get up there, what do you think you're going to do differently? Are you going to, due to all this stress that you've been through and all the struggles and the frustrations, do you think it will play a role in when you get up there?
I feel it will. It will. Currently, I help people. Mm-hmm. I have a band, and I have 2 girls that sing in my band. They are not big. But when I have the opportunity, I have a show, or if somebody reaches out to me and says, Banker, I want you to sing, and I know that I can't perform for that amount, but I know that this girl sings in my band and she would like to perform there. Although my backup singer can sing for you, or my keyboardist can do this for you.
So when you become that A-list star,
by God's grace,
would you still have the patience for young girls like you?
Yes.
Hopefully.
I feel that's the goal. That's
where we're getting. So then it's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, then it's fine.
So, sorry to just keep you here. No, the reason why this is an important conversation is because there are a lot of young people watching, right? And too many times there are misconceptions about people and the term, inconsiderate. So just a few examples. I want to create a few scenarios, right? So let's say you, Banke, are a superstar, right? Because you are, right? You're a superstar, and you have over 100 people stop you at every event you go to have the same conversation, right? Now, I know my younger brother bugging me over my car keys or over playing a video game. I know that's my brother, right? Now, imagine when 100 of my brothers that I do not know come at me, right? Because I think a lot of the time we have these expectations of people that we're not thinking about the struggle that they're dealing with. So when somebody says to you, I don't want to talk to you, the reality is sometimes we also need empathy. Because I've received emails. I'm giving an example of myself. I've received emails and I've been called some weird names simply because I just didn't respond to an email at some point, right? And somebody got upset. But out of the 100 people, I helped 10. The other 90 are pissed, right? So the reason why I say this, and I understand where you're coming from, in terms of I've had a conversation with you, why are you, the reality as what I think what Khadija was trying to point out was, it's easier now. So what I want you to do, and we'll talk about this later, is think about the future that you can create, right, and work towards it. And then when you get to that bridge, our prayer is that you're also able to cross it as well. I want to jump to Nima now. So the same question, but outside Maven, how many people are you mentoring?
Sorry, I'm not an artist, so this doesn't come naturally to me. Okay, so I am part of different mentorship programs outside of Maven, and Fem Africa, Audio Girls, just a bunch of organizations here and there. Sometimes I teach classes. I meet with these mentors. I try to be as helpful as possible. Most of them are people who I've been paired with that want to kind of like be in the A&R space or in the music space. And I mentor my artists. I know you're saying outside of Maven, but I work with so many young artists, and most of the time you think of them as you think of them by the music they make, but they're people, and they're a vessel that carry that thing that people are going to eventually hear. And they themselves are very important as a person. So oftentimes you have to like be their therapist, you have to listen to them. Sometimes they'll bring their, beyond just their career, their personal things to you that you may have to advise on. So along the way, to be honest, I believe in organic relationships. I think that's what you were trying to describe. I've never been one to network as much. Even when I was in school, they would call all these big people from different organizations, and they would now unleash us into the room and say, go. I went to like a very military type, and I'll just go and find one person by the food station, and I'll just be eating and chatting with them, and I'll just feel like I'll make a connection with that one person at least. And I believe in depth like that, and so I don't want to spread myself too thin. So in my immediate, I believe that God has placed me in a position where there are people around me that need me to be there. So that's my immediate circle of influence, and that's where I start, and that's what I've been doing. But I do try and spread out as much as I can. My work is very, very, very tasking. People call me at 2 a.m., 4 a.m. in the night. So, yeah.
Thank you. And there's something I'm noticing as we speak through this, right? A lot of the challenges that women go through, as Khadija had mentioned before, a lot of men go through it too. And I think that there's a little gap that is being missed. And I think I want to see if we can touch it a bit. I'm going to start from you again, and we'll go back to Khadija. What role do you think culture plays in how we process information and deal with each other, whether men to women, women to women? What role do you think culture? I mean, I grew up in a house with 5 boys, so if you don't do the work, you're on your own, right? But I do have friends who grew up in homes, and when I say friends, I mean women who grew up in homes that they had brothers, and they were required to be the ones who clean and the ones who wash and the ones who do these things because they're trained for marriage. What role do you think culture then plays, and these things now play, in affecting the way women then do business or interact with each other in your different industries?
Where do I start? Oh, sorry. Is it question to me?
Yeah, you're starting with you.
Sorry, I was not sure. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I could go on and on and on and on about this. I think it's really starts. All of this starts with our upbringing. When I'm an only child, so I don't have siblings. I didn't really experience the you wash the plates, you stay out late. My dad was very, very strict. So I was raised just like you'd raise any other girl per se, but I didn't have siblings, so no brother to like compare myself to. But I didn't have to go too far to see those gender biases in the home. I had cousins and family members, and really, the way you're prepped to, like you said, you're prepped to be a wife most of the time. So the skills that you're encouraged to learn in most homes are like things that like cater to the man eventually, right? Oh, I was just telling you, don't be too educated. They will be intimidated. They will not marry you. You know, you're just focused on book. You have to do this. If only you could straighten your hair. That one is not only sexism, it's beyond. But it's like, it's constant. And then you go into the workspace. I think the one thing I've observed, even in myself, that I've had to fight against is like, you're so concerned about how you carry yourself. And we should all be, really. I think, you know, how you carry yourself is important. But we're so concerned about it. Oh, you go home and you overthink. Was I talking too much? Was my voice too loud? Why was that guy looking at me like that? Because at every point, you're concerned about the man's opinion about you, the men's opinion in the room. Because most of the time, they're in the power in the room where they can either say, if she's doing too much, or she's like talking too much, why is she jumping the gun? Why is she going ahead of, you know, whatever? So that can be such a limiting factor if you have this voice in your head all the time that is like, you know, you're like watching yourself through their eyes, and it limits you to just be yourself. And I think that's number one, be yourself. Like, you have so much strength and so much power and intelligence to express and do. You bring so much to the workspace that your counterparts don't, other women and men. So like, you trying to like be so linear about how you interact, and it can really like shrink you as a person and limit your skills. And I would say as well, for men on the flip side, is they were told to like shine, you know, like there was an experiment that always blows my mind every time I read it. And it's, you know, some boys and girls took an exam and they were interviewing them as they came out. And every girl they asked, it was like, how did you do? We'll see. That was always the response. I tried my best. And then the guys are like, I aced it. I murdered it, you know. And then when the results came out, really, the average, the females did better. And then you wonder why. Because they were told they can do it all. Like, you know, stand strong, speak louder. So those things you carry even into your adulthood in your workspace. And that's why, like, I think the role that men can play with their female colleagues that they love dearly and appreciate is to try and empower them. Try, when you enter a room with them, introduce them as who they are. Don't just, you just get carried away and then, you know, they're just like in your shadow. And then, or when you are in a room, encourage them to speak up. Like, listen to their ideas. Don't gloss over something they say and then, you know, and then when the man says it, oh, that's such a great idea. I just said it like 5 minutes ago. But yeah, so those are the things I feel like we need to help each other. We need to work together. And yeah.
Fantastic. So we've run out of time. I do know that, but I do think that there were very important points made during this session. And as I said, I was just asking questions. I wanted to be able to listen and also learn. But I'm going to give everybody a chance to give one minute. Don't kill me. We'll give everybody like a minute to just say the last words or the last advice for the young women and men that are, I think I'll speak to men myself as well. I'll do my own 1 minute. But I'll give everybody a chance. I'll start from Khadija and we'll come back to me.
Okay. Culture, I want to go back to that. Culture does play a role. But, you know, funny enough, in my family, this is my auntie right here. Growing up with Auntie Shola, you know, we kind of had strong women. I only had strong women to look up to. And I haven't really experienced, maybe it's approach. I haven't really experienced being turned down when I walk up to a woman. And I think that has also influenced my approach to women as well. So you know, maybe it's, you know, the way you could go walk up to them, even if you get a no, you might feel heartbroken, but you don't just disappear, you hang around. You know, you try, you know, you keep going and you keep trying. And, you know, growing up around music, Auntie Shola has always been in the music, in the music business, and other women. I think many homes are starting to encourage women and encourage girls, but we still have the work to do ourselves, regardless of, you know, where you're coming from. It's your responsibility where you go and how much you achieve. So, and the guys too, thank you for all the support, because we can't be getting this level of balance without help from men, you know. So yeah, that's where I would drop my mic.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll just say keep at it and just keep pushing, like I'm pushing. I feel like this advice is also for myself, and do not get discouraged because it's a jungle out there. I just keep at it. Yeah, that's my advice.
Thank you.
Forgive me. I'll talk to artists directly or people who are aspiring to be artists. I think first, work on your talent. That's what leads the way eventually. People recognize what is good. Work on your talent, because a lot of people try and rush out of that immediately and, oh, I have one song, so now, you know, you should be signed by a big record label. Develop yourself, very, very important. Secondly, you are the key driver of your career. You need to you need to adjust your expectations of what someone up there is going to do for you. I think, you know, ask the right questions, approach people, but work on your career, work on your talent. That is so important. And then I feel like everything else sometimes, not all the time, kind of like follows. Someone will believe, someone will take a chance on you. And also don't lock yourself somewhere and hide. Put yourself out there, do freestyles, put them on Instagram, tag people, show what you're doing, keep doing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't know about you guys, but I did have an amazing time speaking to these wonderful women. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to us. We're not done yet.
You need to give us your 1 minute, because you said you were going to address the men. I haven't forgotten to address them.
So first things first, I think I said it when I started. For most of us guys, we tend not to listen. And when I say listen, I'm not saying hearing what a person says. I'm saying listening to what they are saying so you know how to respond to them. Empathy plays a very important role in understanding how other people behave or what they think or what they're going through. So as men, we generally like to speak to each other the way we speak to each other, right? But we forget that it's just like having a new conversation with a new friend, right? So let's treat the women in our lives as friends and try to understand what they're saying so that we don't misunderstand them and get upset when they say things to us that doesn't go in line with how we talk to our guys, right? So it's important that you're able to communicate better with them, but for you to communicate, you must actually hear what is being said to you. So I think that's my advice.
In fact, you nailed it. That's all I'm going to say, you nailed it. We're going to take questions for the next 10 minutes. Would like the girls' hands up, please. Yeah, there we go. Can you pass the mic to her? She's in. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Afternoon. My name is Pelumi, and my question is directed to Rima. Like, I could really relate to a lot of things, and I've actually been following you, and I wanted to ask, I'm actually a 311 music student, first class student, and then I'm looking for, I've been searching for internship, like this, but it's hard. I've been looking for internship, and there are not much programs for to get interned. And then looking at, I'm studying music, that's all I have, that's all I want to do. And I also I also feel the space to what you said about women when women do some things. I'm also a music producer. I also produce beats, and I play the saxophone, and I have this knowledge in the keyboard and guitar.
Yeah.
And I believe that all what you said, I could relate to it. And then I also wanted to ask if Mavis was having an internship program that I could.
Yeah, shoot your shot, oh. Shoot your shot. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, can I respond?
Yes, you can.
Well, you sound really, really talented. Well done. Yes, Maven does have internships programs. I think that that's really for HR, but...
Speak up, man. Shoot your shot, like we say in Nigeria. Anyone else? Any questions? Ladies, chicks? Any questions? Okay.
For our audience online, you can also drop your questions.
Oh, we've got one person there.
Well, it's a question, but I think that we really need to speak to people who are already established in music business to sort of look back. What Gordon Tom said really struck a chord with me. Like, looking for people who can mentor others and you can't find. And I don't know how we're going to do it. I'm just looking for maybe people who are already doing it, speaking to other people who are established in the music business to look back. Like Maven has an internship. How many other record labels have internship? She's studying music. She has no other choice. It's music or nothing else. And she's looking for internship programs. What can we do? How can we, start this conversation so that, people... I know we're all, at the end of the day, when younger artists are saying, nobody wants to mentor me, I know that at the end of the day, if we look at it, we're all still hustling. Even the established people, we still have a lot we're trying to achieve. I'm sure going to my itinerary is 48 hours in trying to achieve something 48 hours in a 24-hour period. But what can we do to encourage, like a show gear and an IPC saying, I'm going to do a make music? What can we do to, start this conversation where people who are already established can, look back and just do something, maybe 1 hour a week, 1 hour a month, to do something to, create opportunity for young people. Because what Banky said is true. There is no artist, no female artist, in their 20s, that is up there. There's none. We missed the whole generation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I respond to that?
I was
quickly?
about to even pull the lights so that
I just want to respond. I want to respond to that quickly.
No, Eddie, please, can we give him 30 seconds? You have 30 seconds. No, wait, 30 seconds. Trust me.
To the ladies out there.
28 seconds.
Yeah. Mentorship is usually very difficult. People have to willingly want to give. No matter how much you ask, if they won't give, they won't give. And like Tom said, you have to understand, you can't really blame them. Since you have to be very conscious, can we make a commitment? Charles can take the lead with Musu. I'm sure there's no female artist in the A class that Charles will call today and say, we'll have a mentorship program. It could be once a month, bi-monthly, rotate the people to talk to these people. Because the ladies are left, I've encountered tons of ladies who have been led astray in the hope that something will happen. So if we have to be conscious about it, the ladies will also have to take the lead, and that can happen. So, Shola, I'm training that to you with Showgirl and whoever wants to volunteer there. So you're not taking all their time, but they can be part of a forum where this can happen.
Yes, Eshesa. I'll keep that in mind. I must say that I, on my own, I mentor a lot. And I'm very approachable. Those of you who know me, I will speak to anybody at any point in time. But sometimes when you speak to them, they have ideas of what they want to do and are not really listening to what you're saying to them. So that's another problem. Just thought I'd put that out there. Okay. Yes. Okay, so you give me the CDs, and then I'll listen, and I will give you feedback. And if there's any artist in this room who has ever given me, I will tell you exactly what it is, and they don't want to hear it. I will tell you there's too much of this, there's too much of that, it's too long, the lyrics don't make sense. But that's coming from shows. But they have an idea of who they want to be and what they want to say in their song. So they are not really paying attention. If you're going to come for us, I'm going to come for you too. I'm just saying. Because I really know that people send me songs a lot. And I tell them, do this, do that, go and speak to this person. And I will arrange interviews. And because Mega Electric's my station, we have 4 stations. So even if I can't play it, there's Beat FM, there's Lagos Talks, there's Nigeria FM. So we do try to help, but some of you just have the wrong attitude. Okay, I'm done. Okay, next question. Thank you, Mr. Eddie Lawani.
I wanted to answer a question. Yeah.
Mike, you need the mic? Okay, Godwin, go ahead.
So, just quickly, I think with regards to mentorship and programs, I think there are quite a number of programs that are already available and currently running. The problem is people are trying to get one-on-one engagement with people that they might struggle to. If I've gone to events where someone asked me about something that was properly answered during the session, and I asked him what happened, he said, man, I just came here to talk to you. And that's fine. However, you miss the opportunity to learn when you don't attend these events, because you know how they say you either go through school or school goes through you, right? It's the same thing with the workshops and the people you want to meet. Sometimes the information you need to take the next step is at that free seminar that you refuse to go to, right? It's at that free live session you refuse to join.
Yes.
Just take advantage of all the platforms that you have, because as ridiculous as it sounds, we actually do not have enough of the opportunities to teach. There's so much hustling and struggling going on that people are stuck, because somebody you look at that says, oh, this is Tiwa Savage. The bills Tiwa Savage handles right now compared to the bills she was handling when she was struggling she's in a different type of struggle, right? So it's important to understand that people are going through that. But I think most importantly, take advantage of these free platforms that are available and are, here. This is one. You came for this, fantastic. Find the other ones that are happening and go to them, and you'll be shocked at the amount of networking you would do as you go along. You might meet a producer that's also trying to start her career, and that creates a bond and a relationship that now helps you guys create an album that you can sell. These are opportunities that you can look. There's managers here that you might have missed, if you didn't say anything. There are opportunities that are available. And just because of your courage, right? Because you were focused on selling yourself very well. I don't know what you're doing on Saturdays and Sundays for the next 3 months, but I will currently offer you a free slot at the Music Business Academy.
That's what happens when you speak up. Seriously, you have to speak up. I don't think, like you said, women are not doing enough of that. And when we do it, we stand in the corner and say it. Be bold. Good for you. Thank you, Tom. Godwin, Tom.
Auntie, quick question.
Yeah.
What's the timeline? What is the average time before a person, from an artist, upcoming artist, to an A-list artist?
It depends on the quality of songs, how you put yourself out there, how you market yourself, who you're speaking to, what kind of shows you're doing.
Average. Let's be honest. Average time it takes you to succeed in the music industry is approximately 10 years. Right? So the process of developing yourself, yes. The process of, don't forget about, Rema, I heard of Rema last year, and Rema has blown. No, Rema has been in the industry since he was in high school. So the goal here is you take time to, they said 10,000 hours to master level, Abi. You take time to grow. And as you grow, every step you take is one step towards success. So at the point where certain people meet you, AQ at a point had 800 followers on his Instagram. And I remember him telling me he was struggling to sell his album. And I said, sell to the 800 people on your Instagram. He sold to 500 of them, right? So you start at the place where you are. Now, AQ doesn't need to do that one-on-one direct marketing anymore because he's grown. So it's that process. But it's usually 10 years. And then, the success you see happens in 2
after the hard work has been done.
Yeah, and can I just say that the music industry is so connected now. We're no longer in Afrobeats. We're now really plugged into the global market. Of course, we're lagging behind in a lot of ways. We need to monetize our market. But it really takes, like he said, 10 years at least to the A-list you see to really solidify themselves as a true artists. They've been around, they're respected, they're celebrities, they've created wealth for themselves, and they're globally renowned, right? Burna Boy has been out here for how long? It's just since 2017 to now that exponentially, we're now recognizing the person, the artist that he is. Same thing, Rema. He was at the back for like at the back of the studio for how long, you know? So all these people, they've put in the work. They've put in the work. You see even him, like there's still a lot of room. So a lot of people want to blow overnight, and it's not that fast. It's not that fast.
Thank you very much, amazing panel. Femi, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay. So thank you very much to our panelists for this awesome session, and to everyone who's asked questions and everybody who's joined in online. I think the next thing we would have to do now is to call.
Yes.
On
take pictures first.
Okay.
Let's take pictures
first.
This is Make Music Lagos. Can you feel the beat? Every sound from every heart, it's time to let it breathe. Raise your voice, we're singing. Lift up a sound you're feeling. Let the rhythm from your heart be felt in every tune. Let the band play now. Gather round, come on, yeah. Let it flow from your heart to the wall. Let music lift up your heart. Let the band play now. This is Make Music Lagos. Can you feel the beat, yeah? Every sound from every heart, it's time to let it out. Raise the voice, we're singing. Lift up a sound you're feeling. Let the rhythm from your heart be.
Can you hear me? Alright. Thank you so much everyone for coming. Thank you. This is Make Music Lagos. And this was just, of course, Music Business Conference. Thank you so much everyone for coming, to our partners, AudioMark, TuneCore, to all our panelists. MTN, thank you so much for being a part of this event. Thank you, Shoge. Thank you, Zanoza. Thank you, IPC Event, of course. Thank you so much to all our panelists, all our speakers here today. All right. Thank you so much to Slice Media. Thank you, Muson Center, for hosting us. You guys are not clapping. They would have just sent us out of this place. Clap now, be nice. People are not smiling. Why? Is it that they were saying too many deep things and we're trying to take a deep breath? All right. So obviously, we'd like to thank Trace TV, of course. We'd like to thank Slice TV. Slice Media, thank you so much everyone, really. We hope to see you guys next year. But before we go, we have the shutdown finale happening on Saturday. Everybody here should be a part of it. It's a physical event, it's not a virtual event. As a matter of fact, we're not going to stream the event live at all. It's an exclusive event and everybody here is invited. Please be kind enough to join us. It's at the, what's that place? The Shell Hall, yes. It's just the next building. That's where we're having shut down, and it starts at 4 p.m. So we all have to be there. If you are going to be there, say hi. Fantastic. Sorry. Oh, it's on Saturday. It starts at 4 p.m. Till when maybe your mom calls you, perhaps. I'm thinking 10 p.m.
Till when you have to go home because of all the restrictions
because
we have in Lagos.
Because it's a lot of dancing, a lot of singing. Some of the lineup artists that we have, as we've talked about today, A-list artists. We have Brimo performing. You guys are supposed to say who. That was your cue. We have Yaya performing. We have names. M.I. coming through with the rap. Family, thank you so much. Woo. Do you guys, so we have a full house, you guys. So some of you who want to meet some of these artists, some of you guys who want to be there to watch these artists perform. I imagine that also watching people are in front of you or people who have gone ahead of you helps you get better. So you should be there at 4 p.m. Saturday, this Saturday at the Shell Hall. I hope to see you guys there. Thank you so much, everyone, and this is goodbye. But before you go, we have food for you at the food stand. So just get a bag of small chops and water because we care. And we've kept you guys here long enough, so. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Femi Ojo, my name is Charles. It's been a pleasure. Shout out to those of you still watching online. Thank you very much.
This is Make Music Lagos. Can you feel the beat? Every sound from every heart, it's time to let it breathe. Raise your voice, we're singing. Lift up a sound you're feeling. Let the rhythm from your heart be felt in every tune. Let the band play now. Gather round, come on, yeah.